the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and you know, I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting intrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
As they did there, and they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do. We know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off?
Yes,
we know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's okay. Wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God! It's the greatest thing I've ever seen. I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, like, you know, he's not a loser.
What's happening, guys? Welcome to another edition of Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. Hashtag DMDMW. I am your host, the infallible Phil S. Marks. We are back from a week hiatus from this show, so it's been a couple weeks since we've caught up with Dave, so get ready for a jam-packed edition. Chris Jericho in Cleveland rocks. Cleveland rocks. We're going to talk about how Dave sort of kept the Jericho return silent, played coy with it. I mean, we've been covering it this whole time, but Jericho's back in AEW, folks. And April Fool's Day, Winnipeg Dynamite. When he wasn't at the Rumble, or at the Raw after the Rumble, I feared that that's what was going to happen, and that's what did happen. But it's all good. He's Chris Jericho's doing well for himself, as he always has. But Cleveland rocks. There's some fake fucking WrestleMania Dave Meltzer made up in his head that gave away 25,000 tickets. WrestleMania 42 Grifting as the F4W fanfare or fan watch-along WrestleMania hangout after all the doom and gloom. Ronda Rousey's in here and Dave messing up with this fake card for the MVP, Netflix card and all of that, and so much more. Him glazing AEW, insane star ratings, everything you hope to hear
had a
today
Cuervo
will
with
be
him
here
the whole
today.
time, too.
So everybody, get flutes in the chat because it is time for everybody's favorite segment turn show, and it is called Dave Meltzer's Dumb Moment of the Week. And of course, we're going to cook them, we're going to baste them, and it is featuring everybody's favorite Oompa Loompa, Bryan Alvarez. So to kick things off, guys, we talked about star ratings, and so Dave Meltzer dropped some for Revolution, and I believe they're in here. I know Revolution was a minute ago. Again, we had a week off of felting Dave there. But FTR versus the Young Bucks, he gave it 5.5 stars. Just madness. Moxley versus Takeshita, a 5. Andrade versus Bandito is a 5. MJF versus Page is a 4.75. Even though AEW fans even were like, dude, that is too much, you know? And again, how is Andrade and Bandito the same as Moxley and Takeshita and virtually the same as MJF, Hangman, Adam Page? They're just vastly different matches, so it doesn't really make sense. Mystico and Jet Speed versus Katsuchika Okada, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis got 4.75, so it was just as good as Hangman and MJF. Craziness. Strickland versus Brody King got 4.25. Tony Storm versus Marina Shafir got 4. Darby Allin, Orange Cassidy, and Roderick Strong versus the Dogs, 3.75. Tekla and Stat, 3.25. And then Megan Bain and Lena Cross versus the Babes of Wrath, a 2. And yeah, Dave's just full of shit. You know what he's doing here. He's giving his friends a bunch of fucking stars, and then he's trying to push Takeshita, and then Andrade Bandito is the greatest thing he's ever seen ever in Lucha fucking history, but yet he doesn't glaze anything that's going on in AAA ever, right?
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Not that he has to, but let's just be honest. And yeah, whatever it is, we already know what he's doing with all of that, and I just wanted to share those because they were so utterly egregious. And speaking of egregiousness. Dave doesn't realize that, people don't take his star rating seriously. And when you question them, he likes to just condescend, talk shit to you. And we're going to get into it where he just invents a WrestleMania that happened in Cleveland, I guess, where they gave away 25,000 tickets, which then he corrected, I guess. But the problem is that when anyone brought it up, he just started melting down and getting real aggro at them and being like, no, stupid, you need to read my thing to understand, blah, blah, blah. And Dave is at the helm of a lot of this toxicity, and he sweeps for it. And not only does he sweep for it when other people are being toxic, like Ricochet, which we're about to talk about, but he's really at the helm. He's the fucking catalyst for a lot of the way some of these people act. So he talks about how tribalism in wrestling is at an all-time high. And he goes, some people, it just really broke their brains that AEW exists. And it's like, yeah, Dave, it fucking broke your brain when AEW started existing. He lost all credibility, So let's take a listen.
If you read what I wrote, then you have the right to comment on it and say I'm too easy or say I'm too hard, all you want. You didn't read what I wrote.
It's a game. It's a game to those guys, though. The people who are on Twitter all day long, that is like
Dave Meltzer,
their playground. That's like enjoyment for them. It's let's see how many people we can.
I love when boomers try and like rationalize and understand what like trolls are and shit. It's like, yeah, that's what fucking millennials do and shit online, dude.
Upset and frustrate, and let's target. Like, it's not real life to them.
No,
but that's why I was saying,
no. He's describing Dave. So Dave targets, goes after people like Julian Weeks, calls him a fraud when he's a fucking car salesman. Dave Meltzer, what else did he say? This guy goes, it's like a game, it's not real life. Really? Then why does Dave sit there and go, I don't really like when they wrestle this crazy style? And then he rewards it 5 stars when people are getting dumped on their heads and shit. It's because it's not real life to Dave. It's not his body, so he doesn't fucking care if Kyle Fletcher's in a fucking wheelchair when he's 33 or what. I don't know how old he is, right? He might be 30 already. Time cap. But yeah, Dave, it's a video game to him. It's not real to him,
Saying for Ricochet, this is his real life, even though.
And now they're sitting here trying to go, it's Ricochet's real life. Nope. He says he was healing, and all the fans say he's healing. Or I don't know if he ever said he was healing, but he didn't deny it. But then when he became the fool, and I've said this before, when made the fool, become the victim. And he became the victim once his foolery, once his quote-unquote healing blew up in his face. Now he's the victim. Right?
Is playing his character, but as we can tell, his wife is an innocent bystander in this whole thing.
Absolutely.
And so it's real life, even though he's playing.
So his wife's an innocent bystander, true, but then don't heal then. Because if you want to be a heel and tell people, so this is the problem too. None of these dumb motherfuckers, hey, GG and Dave, you're dumb and you're liars because you're omitting the facts. The person he said the MS thing to is an older lady who said his acting isn't good. And then he said, I'm glad you got MS. So she didn't stalk and harass and death threat his wife before he said this shit. Dave's going to make excuses, this GG dummy. You're a dummy.
Character to these people who are responding,
and you're a
this
phony.
is real life to them.
The people who
this is real life to them.
Engaged it. In fact, it is.
So that lady's MS isn't real life to her? Okay.
Their real life because they are consumed. Those people are consumed with the failure of AEW.
You remember Mick Foley's book, The Real
I don't know if that person with MS is consumed with the failure of AEW. I think that they just don't like Ricochet because he's a dickhead.
Life is faker than pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
To those folks, they don't take it that seriously. They're looking to.
Oh yeah, they do.
Upset the apple cart.
No, if you know those people,
Dave really knows those people. Dave knows those people. He's got them all over his message board.
They take it more seriously than anyone. They're I'm not saying all of them,
and
but
isn't it crazy how this is what the conversation is, but when the sickos were going the most savage, like now the sickos are just have just been relegated to like, they just do bot activity. They're just bots. They just say bot shit. They just have NPC takes. They're just like boomer AI riffs to try and own people. It's just they're just it's just cringe. But when they were at their peak of like sickodom, nothing, not a peep from these guys. Not talking about the fans and they're so toxic. And now that it's just WWE fans piling on and there's more of them, and a bunch of them have been like, yeah, let's fuck with the sickos, or like fuck Ricochet or whatever, even though Ricochet's healing until he's not, right? Now Dave's just, these guys are just, oh, how am I these innocent bystanders? This is just crazy.
The ones that I noticed, I mean, they take it ridiculously seriously. I can tell you, because many of them contact me, and they're Looney Tunes, you know. I mean, not just on Twitter. I mean, like in real life. I mean, they're just, some people, I mean, it just really broke.
They're Looney Tunes in real life, Dave. So you know them in real life? The most Looney Tune real life people are like Bix and Span and fucking the kid who was chaining up fucking people in his basement, who's in pictures with, who's at AEW shows taking pictures with Tony Khan. Like, those seem to me the crazy. I mean, in WWE, you have that one lady who was embezzling millions and then spending hundreds of thousands on fucking wrestling shows. That's not, I don't think that's Looney Tunes in comparison. It's Looney Tunes to risk your life like that, but it at least requires some sort of fucking skill, I guess. I don't know, maybe chaining people up in your bed. Yeah, that might require a few different skills, actually. But more Looney Tunes skills, that's for goddamn sure.
That this company exists. And because I didn't tell everyone, like other people, that it's going to fail and the leader's an idiot and blah, blah, blah.
See, nobody thought Tone was an idiot until they saw how everything played out. That's the thing. Like, nobody hated on him at the beginning, Dave. Even the people who were like, nah, WWE's still the best and it's going to own this company like it's owned everything else. They weren't like, this guy's a fucking dumb. Oh, look at me. It's great. Nobody said anything. Nobody called him 2-cup Tone or anything. Right? And so it's been 7 years of him fucking everything up, which is what is still currently happening. Like, Dave is speaking as though, well, they won. The Wednesday Night Wars are over and AEW's on top. I mean, they're beating all these other shows in the ratings. It's cooked, man.
It's like somehow that makes me biased in favor of them, you know?
No, Dave, that's not the reason. Again, so these guys are just complete and utter fraud. I can't even get through this. You're fucking, and then GG sitting there, Garrett, or whatever his name is. Like, you're a clown, buddy. Both of you are clowns, and this is why. That's not the reason people think you're biased. It's because Tone calls you on the fucking phone, and you admitted to stories that to where you wrote a bad review of a Dynamite, and then Tone called you up and was like, I promise, Daddy, I'll never fucking, and he signed all your favorite 5-star merchants, and you give every single match 5 fucking stars. And then when people go, well, his stars don't matter. Oh, how dare you? When you say, oh, your awards don't matter, Dave goes, well, ours got it more accurately than other ones. I think they're all. It's like, dude, you're completely and utterly biased and cooked, and everybody recognizes that. And it's not for this reason that just because you didn't call Tone an idiot. No one wants you to call him an idiot. Nobody's requesting you do that. Hey, Dave, I got it for you, bud. Don't worry, right? But it's like, just admit, I don't even want you to do that. I want you to admit that you think he's the best guy.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
And that's why you shill for him, dude. I don't even need Dave to admit that. Just keep doing what you're doing so I can make fun of you. But he's just attributing it to shit that's non-existent, and he did the same thing with the Ricochet cope. This whole video is a cope video, and that's why he turned it and made it about himself. Oh, well, you know, just like Ricochet, just because I didn't do this thing that nobody said that I didn't do, which is why they hate me. You know what I mean? None of this is based in reality. It's because you're a goober and you're clearly biased. You talked about how you pushed. His exact words were, I pushed for FTR not to do the overrun thing the first time they did it on the pay-per-view. Who are you? What? You pushed for what? texting Tone? Like, that means you have his ear and you're like, come on, man.
And it's like they
it's
just
it's like saying Terry Taylor's your designated stooge, but he doesn't ride harder for WWE than you. He'd admit that in a heartbeat. It's obvious.
They don't understand that in fact, the unbiased person is the one who gives you the numbers, tells you what it is, tells you what it means, and tells you, is it good? Is it bad? Like legit, and looks at the thing, the paths to profitability, the ups and the downs and things like that.
They're not profitable. I refuse to believe that.
And it's like the last thing they are
the ups and the downs. There's only been downs unless you go week by week. Then you can go, yeah, there's been ups and downs, but the only ups that ever came was Punk is here now. And then it just went down, 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 down. And then Punk returned after a banishment or injury, time off, a brawl. And then he leaves again, down, 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 down. So, yes, if you go week to week, there's ups, downs. AEW now recently, which I have a better understanding of what's happening. So, like, Nielsen switched the fucking rating back or whatever. Don't listen to me. Way smarter people have broken this shit down. But yeah, I guess Nielsen could possibly be inflated. I'm not going to start trying to debunk Nielsen and shit. I've told you guys already if you listen to PWT Live Show. I'm just going to look at the fucking ratings they put out. I don't know, just like the Netflix numbers. I'm just going to look at what they put out. We're just going to fucking read and react to it. AEW's had a better year over year, like last week or whatever. But like overall, that's 1 week. We can't start having powwows and doing fucking rain dances, all right? We got to be humble about this and keep poking away at better. Like the last Dynamite. It was a good show. There's some shit. I mean, we could dissect and nitpick. It was like paced way better, more recaps, more reviews, more fucking not even reviews, rather recaps of what happened and vignettes and promos and shit like that. Okay, that is what people want to see in a pro wrestling show week to week. You need some of that. You need more storytelling elements, right? I don't know if I agree with like where they went with the main event and everything. It was a good match and all of that. No overrun as well. So that kind of ruled. So Tone's reeling it in now. So Dave, why didn't Tone listen then when he could have prevented this situation where you look like a liar and an asshole? Tone looks like he's been stupid and ignorant and didn't want to listen to anybody. Why all of a sudden is he now having shorter TV matches and doing more recaps and promo segments? Like the whole first hour of the show was mostly promo shit. If you go back and watch last Dynamite, Time Cop. So
afraid of, like they are so afraid of facts. It is scary.
No, you're the one who's afraid of facts. And that's why it's just projection, dude. Right. So you're the one who's afraid of the actual facts. And meanwhile, when Tony embraces the facts and you're like, they're on a hot streak. Why? Because he's been doing shorter matches and having more like WWE type shit in there. And now it's starting to work and you guys love it and it's a resurgence and the ratings are up. Well, what can you attribute that to? I don't fucking know. I don't know, dude, if it is actually factual, but Dave's lying about the pay-per-view numbers and success that they're having and stuff. We can fucking prove that more or less. So he actually fears the facts, Dave. And that's the problem, is that if Tony accepted these facts earlier and wasn't listening to your dumbass, he would be further along. He wouldn't be last minute desperation. There's rumors and innuendo out there. I recorded a podcast with Husey today, Time Cop. I got some good ones in the bank that are coming out. And, Tone's already poking around trying to figure out where he's going to go. And I think the rumor is Amazon and but he doesn't want that, he wants something. But as long as he's not asking for like $1 bajillion, if he settles for like a TNA type deal, he might be able to pull it off. So, and they'll probably get a little more than TNA just based off like some of the wrestlers they have and what they can draw and whatnot. But I don't know if he can get like 50 million deal or something, because like the ratings are what they are. I mean, if they're 500,000, then that's not bad. That's not bad for it's bad for where they started. It's bad in comparison to like what you see the standard bearer is. But, if they're doing 500,000 for live shows, then that's any place right now in the era of fucking streaming. Like any network would want that. Any fucking streamer would want that, but not for like the 185 million. They're not going to pay out the fucking ass. And it's not that Paramount. Well, when I say any, that's being too vague. I guess like, yeah, Paramount and them, they're not going to fuck with AEW just because Tony Khan's talk shit about too many people, and that's just not going to bode well for sure. But if he ends up on, like, I don't know fucking where, right? But it's just that, like, if he accepted and started doing this type of show earlier, and we're seeing like a boost in the ratings than when he had 900,000 watching or 800,000 watching, and it was like year 3 and people were like, Tone, step it up. It's year 4, people are like, Tone, you're hemorrhaging viewers. Year 5, dude, year over year, it's dead. And now Nielsen has to like come and switch up the way they do shit in order for them to have good ratings. They had to switch it up twice in order to get, and now AEW and wrestling shows are all seeing an increase or whatever the fuck, other than NXT year over year is down right now. So I just don't know, man. It's all fuddy-duddy games, and we can just look at things like live attendance, YouTube trends, Google trends, things that are palatable to us, YouTube videos. Jericho's return is at a 250,000 views, I think. Triple H, when he got in between Brock and Oba, it was at like fucking 1 million views in however long. So it's just things like that, we can actually look at those things. HBO Max numbers, they're invisible. We don't know what they are. Tone claims he doesn't even know what they are. So let's stop lying. Let's stop pretending anyone knows. It's 10 people for all anyone knows, just as much as it's 500,000 for as anyone knows. As far as anyone knows. You guys know what I'm saying? So it's not that AEW exists, and I'm proof of that, because I'm still a fan of it, but I was like a huge diehard AEW person, and WWE and TNA. Like, I just was like, word, a new pro wrestling fed. And it was before I had a pod. And even if you go to the early days of this pod, I was very much like the same way I kind of am very optimistic for AEW shit. I was very much like, AEW's doing this right, and they're doing this, and they're doing that, and boom, 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 and if they can get it together. But, Punk was there and shit. Like, they were riding highs for sure. And if Punk showed up in TNA, I'd probably be glazing it then as hard too, and they would have had a resurgence too. Punk shows up anywhere, man. So I don't know if Dave can talk about ups and downs and arounds. It's just been down unless Punk shows up, right? So speaking of people showing up, we spent some time on that. Dave Meltzer had this to say. One person close to the situation said Ronda Rousey's appearance at Revolution fit into her vendetta against TKO for negotiating with her for over a year for the Gina Carano fight and then changing the terms on the offer. So that didn't happen. Okay, Ronda. So I wrote, oh my God. First, he said it was a strategic alliance. I point out how she's burying TKO and this could backfire. Now she's got a personal vendetta because they changed the terms, which isn't what happened for Ronda and Gina at the Netflix press conference. Dave is such a dumbass. So you read it, and like, again, I've been spot on with this. Ronda said Dana offered them the last pay-per-view before UFC went to Paramount. Gina had to turn that down because she wouldn't be 100% where she wanted to be preparation-wise. Dana then encouraged Ronda to fight elsewhere and make the most money possible because they were abandoning the pay-per-view model. Ronda is taking shots at Hunter Campbell and TKO because she was inspired, this is her quote, inspired by Dana to shake things up and she learned from the best. It's Tony Khan's vendetta, Ronda's selling a fight. Then her vlog came out after this where she admitted what I'm saying, but she already said it at the Netflix pressers, but she reiterated it backstage. And she's like, oh, I'm going to get phone calls. Some friends are going to call me and stuff. Like, she's still very friendly with that side of things. And it's Tone's vendetta. There was no match. Tony Storm was in there made to look stupid with Ronda fucking pointing at the ground and flipping people out. There's no fucking end game with this. There's no match at all in. There's none of that shit, dude. And it's just so fucking disappointing. Tone, again, just hotshot booking like a dumb thing with no payoff. And like, I don't know. It's unfortunate. Like, if you're going to bring Ronda in, make her fucking wrestle. Like, otherwise just don't do it. Because there's no, like, what did that do? They didn't even promote it. And Ronda said that. We didn't promote it, so it's not like it's going to help them. That's all she was worried about. So, speaking of the Ronda Gina fight, Dave Meltzer reacted to this card And here's the thing, like, wrestling fans got to understand with this thing, the fake card that leaked out, it wasn't so unbelievable. Right? Like, I think it had Holly Holm. I fucking saw it and reacted to it. I was like, oh shit. Like, it was during Member Monday. I just saw it scrolling the timeline while we're watching Raw. And I was like, oh shit. I think Holm and Calvillo are on this thing. We broke down the fight. That's not like an unbelievable fight. But the problem is that, here we go. The problem is that Dave, he's cooked, man. He talks about shit like it's official, like he's the news, and then he talks about it like it's official and things like this when it's like, okay, we don't, unless there's an announcement from MVP. And then we got the full card from MVP, and it's still a banger. There's only a couple fights difference, but Dave did get dragged, and he did put out this correction. He's like, after a fake card made the rounds online, the real one is official. But I don't know if it really made the rounds. It was just somebody made a graphic. The full Netflix MMA undercard for Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano has been announced, featuring several notable returns. And so Meltzer said what just got at him and was like, what did he say? Where is this? Pardon the scrolling. Like I said, we got a lot in here. So, pardon me. Where is Meltzer said what? He had that's too far, I think. He just called him out. He's like, you were like responsible for spreading. Yeah, he said what F4W failed to mention was their very own Dynamite Dave Meltzer helped spread this fake card, which he did not verify and read off on late Monday night's Wrestling Observer Radio. The official card wasn't announced until Tuesday morning. And you take a look here. And is this, so this is the MVP announcing the actual full card. And so, I don't know, man. The only fights that were different, I think, was like the Holly Holm one versus Calvillo. Like, I don't even remember. I looked at that fake one too, but I don't think it got spread around the internet really that much. I think people were like, what? This isn't the real announcement because it didn't come from MVP, It was just rumor and innuendo. But Despine versus Dos Santos, dude. That Despine guy is fucking, that's going to be nuts. You guys want to watch this Netflix here's Dave talking about it.
In these, fights or anything. Holly Holm and Cynthia Calvillo, getting Holly Holm on the show and everything like that. It's in some ways, with Holly Holm doing all these different things. I mean, I think it's cool.
Dude, explain that. Imagine you're listening to Wrestling Observer and you just hear him going, Holly Holm doing all these different things. What, like arts and crafts and gardening? Like, what do you mean? Explain that.
Done the real American freestyle wrestling, kickboxing. Or I shouldn't have kickboxing. She's in regular boxing. She's actually got a world title fight, I think, rematch coming up. And then she's doing this in MMA. And then Tony Ferguson and Anthony Pettis, which, and they were both giant stars before they got old. And then Andrei Arlovsky, speaking of old, Andrei Arlovsky's probably, 47-ish?
Yeah, so I don't think Arlovsky's on it. Yeah, Pettis-Tony rematch isn't on there either, so it was just a completely fake undercard.
He's maybe even older. Against Georgino Rosenstruck. But, Andrei Arlovsky, former world champion. You got Tony Ferguson, who was never a world champion, but was highly, highly ranked competitor. Anthony Pettis was a world champion at welterweight, or lightweight, I should say.
Yeah, Dave is just all over the place. He doesn't explain things, and Tony Ferguson is currently the Misfits boxing champion. Not that he's a welterweight champion, I believe, right now in Misfits boxing, but whatever. Dave is just talking out of his ass, and I don't know, dude. I'm hype. This card that they put together is much better than the fake fights. Like, I don't want to watch Rosenstrike versus Arlovsky unless it's bare knuckle, where Arlovsky's thriving right now, and you have Avila, Nate Diaz's guy here, who's in that movie with Theo Von and David Spade coming out as well. But anyways, let's move along here. So Dave helps spreading that around. I guess I did too. I don't know. I read it during Member Monday, but it was like we were watching Raw, and I was like, oh shit, here's some fucking fights. So this is what Dave had to say, how there's nothing planned with Ronda Rousey and AEW going forward. And of course, he's stooging this because he knows Tone.
Ronda Rousey, what is the latest?
And so it's clearly Tone's vendetta, because if it was Ronda's vendetta, she'd be on every fucking show trying to blow up Dynamite, trying to blow up All In, and all of she'd have a match coming up. So originally Dave said it was her vendetta, and then he had to fucking flip-flop on that.
Admitted that was a prime reason. I mean, to publicize the fight and to give an FU to TKO. And it's interesting because WWE, I'm sure, is going to be asked to promote that show by Netflix, and probably not have her on. Maybe, I don't know if they'll have anyone on, but they're certainly going to be asked to promote it. So because it's a major Netflix event, and they always try to cross promote. So that's kind of interesting there. And she said she did it without asking Netflix, because she figured it was, what'd she say, easier to ask forgiveness than for permission.
Yes.
Yeah. So
I think you're misinterpreting. She was alluding. I'm pretty sure she said she did it without asking like TKO and those guys. And now Dave is going to lie by embellishment here, because he's embellishing the truth. She flat out said, I played the clip. She was like, yeah, I'm going to get some calls from some friends that are going to be like, she was talking about the people she knows.
Yeah, so she didn't want to bring it up to them because she thought,
and probably Netflix, but I doubt Netflix would. Netflix doesn't tell people you can't do this. They can't tell Ronda Rousey you can't go show up at a wrestling match. That's against the whole thing that Netflix and MVP are preaching, and the fighters are preaching with this card. We're independent contractors. Dave could have just watched the Netflix press conference where Ngannou and Gina and Ronda, and they all talk about it's bullshit. You're locked down in the UFC. You can't go anywhere else. We're independent contractors. We do blah, 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 blah. That's literally all they talked about at the fucking press conference. It was like half of what they talked about, rather. And then Dave didn't watch it, and now he's like, oh, she didn't ask Netflix. No, Dave, she's talking about her friends, like Dana White and shit. She doesn't hate them. It's not her vendetta. It's her trying to market some shit. It's Tony's vendetta, and it's your vendetta.
Say no, but
it's V for vendetta.
She wanted to do it, and I thought that maybe Netflix wouldn't like her doing it since it was a rival promotion to WWE, but she did it and talked about her friendship with Marina. I don't think that there's anything. I think it's pretty clear there's nothing planned going forward, and she hasn't. She did do the video, but she hasn't really promoted the fact that she was there or anything like that, in her own social media, and she's just getting ready for the fight. And then after that, I mean, who knows? She made a point. Marina's, her best friend since childhood.
So what does that have to do with anything?
I'm sure she would love to do something with her down the line, but I don't anticipate anything.
Wow.
Certainly until after the fight.
The
and
best
after
booker.
the fight, who knows? What kind of offer she's going to get or what she's going to want to do.
She said she's done doing anything. If you just watch the press conference, Dave, she just said, if people are begging me to do, this is my last fight, They asked her flat out, are you going to do another one? You're going to go back to pro wrestling? She's like, I'm just done. So again, Dave could have just watched that press conference, and then this video wouldn't exist, or it would exist in a much different version of what we're watching right here. So Dave Meltzer, man, he's cooked. We're on the topic of AEW. Let's rip through some of this. We talked about the HBO Max numbers, how nobody knows what the fuck they are. Dave's talking about Revolution here as well. And here's Dragon FC at Brar Dragon says, if AEW did 140K pay-per-view buys on HBO Max for Revolution, how many Dynamite viewers will they have on the streaming platform if that many purchase the pay-per-view? And then this guy goes, if 140K bought the pay-per-view on Max, that's insane to think that 140K, and this is the type of discussions Dave and BJ Bethel and these redacts create. The amount watching Dynamite is likely triple, because I'm sure a third of the fans that watch Dynamite also watch the pay-per-view. How? Where? Meaning likely a minimum of 350 watch Dynamite on Max and over 250 for Collision. 450 or 420 if we're being accurate. It's crazy. So look, too, this is the thing. This guy goes, 140K isn't only Max. It's a combination of pay-per-view buys across all platforms. And now people are starting to get it. When you just sniff around and ask Dave the questions, okay, so how many people bought it on YouTube? How many people bought it on just traditional pay-per-view? How many people bought it on just Max, Dave? And then it's on Amazon too? And Dave never goes, this is not including YouTube and Amazon and traditional pay-per-view for people who are for fucking boomers like Dave who still have the fucking TV guide and the, you know? I wish we could go back to times like that. But this is the thing, right? So this guy goes, the Wrestling Observer said HBO alone did a record 140K buys. Bro, there's not even 100,000 people likely buying these fucking pay-per-views in the first place, man. You know? How would he know that HBO Max, he estimates those numbers the same way he used to estimate UFC pay-per-view buys. But all of a sudden he knows the Max numbers for pay-per-views, but he doesn't know them for the show.
Or,
the
young
all 140,000
superstar, babyface, the former heel thing. So,
and Dave says between 140 to 180,000, Brian, bought this. So is that extra 40,000 the number he's talking about from all around? Well, we saw that there was like 2,000 people on YouTube in the chat. So are you telling me Amazon sold 38,000 pay-per-views possibly, Dave? Like, where are you coming up with this shit? Is it just 30% because he claimed 30% of what they were going to add an extra 30% buy? So why would they add that? There's no proof to any of this. And when you just ask simple questions, his shit just deflates. It just falls apart. Everything's falling apart. Right? That's what happens. Because he's talking out of his ass. So he goes, this guy here goes, I would like to see a verifiable numbers of any pay-per-views, not Meltzer math. He always spouts numbers for everyone with no proof. And then this guy goes, I think it's not beyond believable for AEW to get high buy rates given the unique total buys in previous years, all the more so with its popularity and viewership growing recently. So again, Dave goes, there were 530,000 different homes that bought an AEW pay-per-view in 23 and more than 650 in 2024. Keep in mind a few flaws. First, that's worldwide, not US. Second, if Dynamite averages 655 viewers total, minutes divided by full length of the show, the total viewers watching is closer to 1.2 million because the average viewership length is 54%. Bro. Again, so this guy, I'm glad that this guy's being like, again, he's being given to Dave here. He's like, it's possible. And even it's like, it's possible, but Dave, like all of this shit he's saying, where is he getting that from? Where is he getting that from? He's just citing himself. So again, man, it's madness. The pay-per-view shit is to me, it's craziness. This guy posted this here. This article mentions the 140K record on HBO. So Dave Meltzer, Wrestling Observer, while he didn't provide a number for the pay-per-view buys, he claims that it's up 27% from the last two shows, Full Gear and World's End. But that doesn't reflect in the trends. Or wait a minute. It might reflect in the trends, actually. No, let me correct myself. It actually might reflect in the trends. We would have to look at them. We already did on this show. But if you guys remember, Switchblade broke down how it had the most interest in 2026 and the most interest in a show since, I think it was like Forbidden Door or some shit. I forget the metric he used, but Forbidden Door last year had double the Google trend and YouTube watchers peaked. So did all of those people just go to Amazon? How do we explain that then? And Dave said that show did 122,000 buys. So now we fast forward in a show that did less than half the Google trending and YouTube viewers on fucking YouTube did even more than that because of the viewers on HBO Max. It's possible, but nobody knows the HBO Max numbers. That's the problem. I hate babbling about this all the time because we just really don't know, but Dave just keeps going off on it, and then he wonders why people call him fucking bias, okay? And so in other bias news here, right, Dave Meltzer gets into it with this guy over Tony Khan bidding on WWE. So he tried to buy WWE in 23 after the Vince stuff, after the allegations and all of this shit. It would have been Tony Khan dealing with lawsuits.
The best guy is Tony Khan.
And what would the sickos be saying? Oh, no, he's still great. He's the best guy. He fucking Tony Khan rules, even though he's works with Vince McMahon or whatever the fuck. You know, and he would have monopolized the wrestling industry and everybody would have been okay with that. Right? And so this is a conversation Dave's having. So, Uncle Dave, is this true? So this guy here goes, Tony Khan placed a bid to buy WWE when it was up for sale. And then Dave says, yes, accurate, as if he knew and knows the whole time. So he's a fucking shill. Tony Khan, come on down. You're shilling. We got you. And the problem with this is like, where were all the people, or where is all the people crying about tone monopolizing? And this is the thing, right? I hate hearing from the wrestlers and the fucking fans about how much wrestlers get paid, and then they're not drawing, and then they go, oh, well, our tickets are the cheapest and we're the most affordable. But meanwhile, if y'all were doing Saudi deals and y'all were able to charge $1 billion for 18,000 seaters at MSG, they'd all be tap dancing and going, see, the Fed's cooked, it's done. It's just good for me, not for thee. And so if Tone had to monopolize the entire wrestling industry, buying ROH and then buying WWE, they'd have all been cool with it. That's why no one takes you motherfuckers serious.
Would you please shut the hell up?
And so Dave says, yes, accurate. And then was Tony's bid almost $2 billion less than the winning bid? If so, that's insane. Right? And then this guy goes, it was him and his dad's company's bid, which is the truth. And then Dave goes, his company separate from his father. And then Niccolo Piccolo just owns him. He goes, quit the internet, Dave. If you believe Tony has 6.9 billion separate from his father, this might be the dumbest thing you have ever posted. That's like 8.5 stars dumb. That's like Tokyo stars. Tokyo Dome stars dumb. Niccolo Piccolo. For real, dude. So Tone has a spare 6.9 billion of his own separate of his father's capital in every way, shape, or form. I just don't buy that for one fucking second. Right? Now, Tony does have the never-ending, the infinity money glitch, right? He's got the infinite money cheat code entered in on his GTA file 100%, man. He does. Like, his dad's going to make fucking billions every year, probably. I don't know if it's in the billions every year or just like the hundreds of millions every year, but like his dad has the infinite money glitch in patents and shit like that. You have, but then Tone, does he have he was making $7 billion bids and his dad, that's none of his dad's money. Dave, are you really sure about that?
Are you sure about that?
I don't know if I believe that. So moving along here, that's again why people think you're a shill, Dave, and we're just pointing out all the ways you're a fucking shill. You know, one way,
it's not a cartoon guy, and neither
Dave Meltzer shills for AEW is sometimes, and I don't mean to get any on the boys, but like sometimes he shills for them and it just hurts them. Saying Darby Allin isn't a cartoon character, for instance, like he's going to do in this clip, when all he's done is cartoony, phony shit, and he literally used to come out and his Tron was a cartoon version of himself doing cartoon stuff, because even he thinks he's a cartoon, Dave, and you're too much of a dummy to even understand these characters.
Stupid
again,
idiot.
This is why this is another way that you shill. because you sit there and you try to you put on a front as though like Darby's some serious fucking guy we should be taken serious, when nope, he's the road runner, he's Wile E. Coyote, he's just a goofball. We tried to tell you. And again, he used to come out as Tron was him in a cartoon. And notice Orange Cassidy's was like that too. It's unserious. And so here's Dave trying to sort of protect Darby here, while trying Bryan is like, yeah, this is kind of dumb. And it is, man. Gabe Kidd has just hurt his stock so badly going to AEW. Well, not his bank account, but his perceived stock, I guess, his star quality or his potential and all of these things, I think, have been stifled in AEW. But let's take a listen.
It's cartoon violence. And Gabe Kidd is not a cartoon guy, and neither is Darby.
Darby is for sure. Gabe Kidd is becoming that.
You know?
They sure were in this match.
All Gabe Kidd does is hardcore matches and like falls like someone's bleeding and it's like, oh, no holds barred. I swear to God, I feel like he's always in a gimmick match. Oh, it's the arena anarchy in the arena or whatever. He's always in he helped out the Bumbleclaw clan in that cage match too. Like I feel like every time you see him, there's a stipulation, and it's like this is the guy that everyone was saying was a real wrestler, bruv, who. He could he's the young lion from the dojo who will fucking stretch you, and he's a real scrappy kid and all that. And it's just hardcore shit all the time. He's Moxley too, bruv.
Coyote and the Roadrunner.
I know.
Gabe Kidd starts making a comeback on Darby.
And this is why it's projection too. Like Dave hears Bryan Alvarez go, this is the Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner. And then Dave starts calling the fans earlier. What did we hear him say? They're just like Looney Tunes characters. He hears people say shit and then he spits it out at other people all the time, man. It's just such great projection. It's so funny.
With no arms.
Mm-hmm.
He's beating his ass with no arms. I'm like, what in the hell's going on?
Hey, man, a fucking dude with no arms or legs just shot a dude in America recently. So this isn't so unbelievable there, Bri.
And the crowd is dead for this match, by the way. On top of everything else, they're just dead.
It might have been, it was a badly mic'd crowd to begin with, but
I don't know, like you see now the crowds are quiet, Dave. They bursted out laughing. Dave, play the clips. Like I play the clips. Okay, so when I go, man, they were like laughing at it. 9 times out of 10, I'm gonna have the clip. Okay, they laughed when Buddy fell out of the trunk, and Dave's like, "Oh, it was a badly mic'd crowd." So now when the crowds are hot, they're just hot, Bryan. But then when they're quiet and dead, they're just badly mic'd. Fucking Dave, man.
Stunt. And you come back and they're doing this match. You know what I mean? I mean, like you've seen one guy like basically crawl out. Darby's crawling out the window of this car that's turned over. And Gabe, somehow the trunk opens up because of the crash. And he's dead. He's like dead, like motionless.
He's dead. They said the guy's dead.
He's motionless, falling out of the trunk of an upside down car. And then 3 minutes later, they're in there.
And the crowd laughed. So you're leaving that part out. They laughed at how stupid it was.
Having a wrestling match. It's like, I mean, how are you going to get people to react?
They literally laughed when he fell out of the trunk upside down. They laughed. And then they followed up with Darby wanting the title from MJF, and boy, did that not get a reaction after this.
No.
Oh, this was a.
I told you. So Dave, they had to do more vignettes. They had to do better match pacing. They had to format the show better. They had to do more promo and character work and telling stories and making us care about a contract signing. Like, yeah, we understand there's contract signings, but what's happening around it? They need to do. They can't. So Darby's not going to get over, and Cassidy's not over, and they get no fucking reaction. Nobody cares about Darby. He ruined his shit. He just ruined it because he should have turned heel on Sting. But you guys all want to glaze and pretend like Sting's retirement was this fucking glorious, epic, one of the most epic moments in wrestling. It wasn't. It's remembered because Darby jumped off shit and his sons came out, right? When Darby should have turned heel on Sting, or Sting should have turned heel on Darby, then put him over. And then that should have ended the undefeated. You let him the undefeated streak. You let him climb Mount Everest. Takes all this time off. When he's at the peak, he goes to the peak of Mount Everest when he's maybe not at the peak, but he was like peaked more popularity wise. right? Darby Allin was like popping after all that Sting shit. All of a sudden he's gone. He's hurt. He's fucking climbing mountains. The fuck's going on? There's no follow-up. All Tone's idea was team him up with Sting and have him do hardcore shit. It was just goofy, man. And I was right about all of this shit. And so Phil Marks was right and Dave Meltzer's a goof. And we wouldn't even be here to where the crowd's not reacting. We'd be in a place where they're drawing 10,000 every Dynamite and they are reacting to the next challenger in line for MJF instead of fucking booing Darby or like not caring about Darby, you know?
Calamity in the making.
Darby was hot for a little while. Why is he not? Why is the show better when you do less hokey? They're flipping in cars and fucking Jungle Boy on the bus. So you stop doing dumb shit like that. You do more serious, like here's a recap package. Here's Willow Nightingale telling you what the fuck she thinks. Here's these two guys getting in a face-off and then setting up a match for later in the night. Here's a match that is only 8 minutes because we're on fucking TV. And even Ospreay, like he took it too far in Dynamite. He gets slammed on his head in the entrance ramp during his entrance. And then he's fucking out there doing backflips, not selling his neck. Like that shit is going to hurt. Awesome. I'm right about that one too, Dave, but you keep giving him 5 stars.
I was watching it while it was happening. I was watching it going, this is what we talked about for years. And I'm watching it live right now.
All the ratings and all the success they're allegedly having, the pay-per-view buys. Oh, they started reeling it in and trying to produce like a sports entertainment show, Dave. And again, with the pay-per-views, like this guy here, Mikey says, streaming killed pay-per-view, which it did. And Dave Meltzer goes, explain AEW. And I just wrote, Dave can't even explain AEW's pay-per-views. It's all made up in his head. That's the fucking thing, Dave. Like, you can't explain it. You provide zero evidence. It's just shit you're saying. It just so happens that the attendance is down, the year over year, the TV's down until they start fucking with Nielsen, but the pay-per-views and the streaming numbers are insanely fucking crazy, and it's an anomaly. And then when we look at the percentages of conversions for the pay-per-view using your numbers, they're statistical anomalies that don't align with WCW or WWE trends at their peak of the Attitude Era and the Monday Night Wars and shit. It's all an anomaly when it boils down to AEW, but we can look at the attendance and go, oh yeah, they're not. Thurston can sue a building and figure out that they padded the fucking house like 6,000 people or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like I'm sorry, dude. We can look at the YouTube numbers. We can look at when the wrestlers do interviews. We can look at when clips drop of them and shit compared to other, like, it's bonkers, man. It's ridiculous, Dave. Explain AEW. No, Dave, that's your job. You try to do that, and that's, again, why you're a fucking shill. So here is Dave Meltzer, Fantasy Mark, booking Ospreay's return to the ring. And their criticism is it could have been built up bigger. I think that Ospreay, since he's returned, has just been a complete and utter flop. I think that he just showed up, did a flip, and then the next night or on Wednesday, the next show, he got like attacked and then he chased a dude off and then he's in a match. He beats Blake Christian quickly. And then this week he gets attacked, dropped on his head, and then he goes 50-50 with Pac. And it wasn't too long of a match, which was good. And they did work top guy speed at the beginning, but Ospreay he gets in this mode where he just gives up and he just doesn't sell. He just quits selling. He just starts doing flips. And he just stops selling his neck and his fucking arm that should be numb. I've become so numb.
Will Ospreay's return to the ring. He just returned to go 50-50 with Blake Christian.
I think that his first match had been built up. I mean, it should have been on the pay-per-view.
Of course.
But at worst.
They didn't even mention this on the last pay-per-view when he actually returned. No. They didn't say tune in Wednesday to Dynamite. He's back.
No.
Because it's him rushing everything.
They didn't announce it until Tuesday. And even then, I mean, it didn't get even that much play.
Because they announced him versus Blake Christian.
Yeah. Well, it was,
I mean, physically, he looked great.
He
looked exactly the same.
Yeah. He's a little smaller, but not much.
I'm talking athletically.
Athletically, he was fantastic. Yeah. I mean, I tell you what, I thought Bryan Danielson did an awesome job of commentary because
he did an awesome job making everybody petrified this guy's going to die.
He may go out there and
because he might.
he may be able to do every single thing athletically that he could do before, and you know, I mean, he didn't do everything, you know, he could do before, but what he did,
he could do before. Listen to how like even Ospreay should be offended. Like, what a fucking dumbass. What do you mean I can still do all that shit? He didn't do everything he could do before. Dave, he can still do all that shit is what he's trying to show you, but Tone's actually limiting his time. And unfortunately for Ospreay, he doesn't know how to get over. He doesn't know how to get over. Pac tried to wrestle like a real match with him. Okay? And Pac carried that fucking match. Pac was the highlight of that match, working top guy speed, trying to work his neck over. And then Ospreay just stops fucking selling it. And it's like the reason he's doing crazy shit, and he can still do it all, but Tony's limiting the time, which Dave will not acknowledge, because then that means he was wrong. And that he's been lying about all the fan base really wants longer matches and stuff. And the stopwatch marks. Imagine only getting this much wrestling in the wrestling show. Tone's starting to realize, yeah, I got to do less wrestling on the week-to-week show or it's too much. Load up the pay-per-views, fine, but Jesus Christ. So with Ospreay, he doesn't know how to get over other than I got to do a couple of me flips, bruv. I got to fall down, get back up, bruv. Fall down, get back up, bruv. Fall down, get back up, bruv.
Everything looked great. And he did, you know, cool stuff fast. He's fast. He's got incredible body control. That's still there. That's good.
Why did he rush his comeback to have these pointless matches? Nobody cares about this shit. And his body's not even super jacked up. Like, he should be as jacked as Pac after that layoff.
The question is how...
And he should have milked it till All In.
Is recovery going to...
And why is he doing all this shit, getting dropped on his head and still doing fucking flips and taking suplexes on the fucking ground before All In? When it's like, buddy, you want to be on that show? They just don't care. They're not willing to prove the haters wrong and the critics wrong by being like, yeah, I'm someone who can listen and can adapt and all. Yeah, you want me to fucking, I'll own you at what you think I can't do. It's not that. It's them thinking like, oh, you say I can't do this or I shouldn't do this thing, so I'm going to keep doing it. And it's like, no, dude, don't. That's not how you prove people wrong. Prove them by showing you can do the things they're saying that you fucking can't. That would be way cooler, just my opinion. I don't know.
And we don't know until he starts doing matches and doing, you know, longer matches and things like that. We're not going to know. I mean, hopefully, man, you know, it's like even Danielson was basically saying the same thing that we've been saying. It's like 6 months after Double Fusion. And it's like, you know, some people I guess some
Danielson said
so he's Wolverine, Brian. You know, except it's like you know, except it's like Krakoa. I think that's what it was called. It's like Genosha. Professor Xavier's School for the Gifted. Jesus Christ. He's a mutant.
The surgery he got was way more serious than the surgery I got several years ago.
Right.
And it took me 3 months longer to come back.
To come back and do what? Sit on a fucking chair and look depressed, Brian? Shut the fuck up. Or is he saying what Danielson was saying? Because if it was Danielson, then yeah, shout out Danielson. He's the fucking OG. So here's Dave talking again. He wonders why. Why am I a shill, Brian? Why does everyone think I'm a shill? Here's another reason. Who deserves the credit for AEW's recent success? Dave, you do, because you're inventing.
He had Cuervo with him the whole time too.
It's you inventing all of this fucking success, because let's say there is a spike in the ratings. Okay, so they're not even back to where they were 4 years ago at this point. So what the fuck? I think 4 years, maybe 4 years ago, they were doing 700,000 and shit. But it's like, what are we talking about? Okay, let's see. Is All In going to do all of this huge success? So is All In going to do what it did the first time? Because it's trended down, down, down ever since. You know? And they're going back to Wembley. So is it going to do like all of this success as in like getting back to where they were? I thought they were in a rebuilding phase. So is this the rebuilding phase or the successful phase after the rebuild, Dave? Or is it all just happening all at once for them? It's just whatever you want it to be, man.
I don't know.
Me neither, Lex. But here's Dave attributing success here.
For MJF's Flair Thez case so far, do we give him credit for the resurgent ratings for AEW? It feels like they've rebounded as soon as he took the belt from Joe.
Yes. I mean, that's part of the deal. Yeah. I think that it's not only him. I mean, I think like when you look at it, like Omega, I think is a Omega's a babyface. Seems like he's got something this run because like the first Omega Swerve did real well, and then this one did even better.
God,
but MJF.
How did it do better? One wasn't one on TV, and then one was no, because he didn't wrestle the pay-per-view. Okay,
MJF Adam Page, because that was like that obviously did a very big number. I mean the gimmick helped, of course.
MJF Adam Page did a very big number. No proof of that,
but I'd say MJF Adam Page and Kenny Omega are the ones, and maybe going forward, Will Ospreay and Swerve. Those would be the key ones. But MJF's the world champion. He deserves credit for, even if you say he doesn't deserve credit for the ratings, which he does deserve some credit for the ratings, absolutely. But the pay-per-view, I mean, he was in the main event, and yeah. No, he's
that's the problem too. Like this mentality of like, well, who deserves the fucking credit? Okay, in WWE, you have everybody who's on the same fucking ship, on the same boat, headed in the same direction, trying to be successful. And then you can attribute it to things like John Cena or Roman Reigns or whatever. But it's like, who gives a fuck? It's no one person, especially if you're talking about, all these challengers for the title. It's not just on MJF because he's been there when the ratings were tanking too. But shut the fuck up, Dave.
Candidate for sure this year so far. We're only a couple months in, but he's absolutely a candidate.
A candidate for what? He's a candidate for what? Wrestler of the year a few months in? Holy shit, Dave. He's cooked, man. This guy's fucking melting. So we move along here. And again, man, Dave Meltzer, he talks about where the best place to go if you're a young wrestler. Actually, I'm going to circle back to that one because that's just so juicy. And it just, again, is why he's a shill. So here's him talking about Tekla, who deserves some credit. I think she's fucking cool, man. I know, yes, her last promo segment or whatever, when she's standing in the crowd, no one was reacting. But that's because the shows aren't that hot. There's not a lot of heat on shit. And Tekla, she is really cool. I dig her vibe, and I'm a fan of hers so far. I think she's been booked pretty decently, and I think she is going to be the one to drop the title to Monet at All In. I hope at least they go with a bit of a longer run with her. But Dave is talking about Tekla's new contract.
Tekla re-signed before her deal was even up, right?
Yeah. They're happy with her. And
that's most people fucking do that.
And, she's done a good job. Yeah.
I do wonder about those kind of signings though, because, for instance, in other sports, if you sign someone before they hit free agency, you kind of have to give them a little bit of a reward because their value in the free agency is getting teams to bid and negotiate.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So in these instances, when I see that someone signed early, I kind of go, man, I hope that it was for the value that they know they have.
It is, man. Just come out and say it. Tone gives a bonus. Just fucking say it. You don't have to beat her. We know you're all friends. Just say Tone gave her a signing bonus.
She's one.
And do you think she's a dumbass? You think she's a fucking stupid person, or do you think she obviously would have done what was best? Like, no shit.
They're top young people, I think, and and I'm sure if her deal did come up, there would possibly be an interest on the other side. Who knows with where TKO is at with the bidding these days? But just that idea that okay, I'm going to eschew my possible free agency to sign early. I hope she negotiated, pretty well.
She did, man. Okay, Tone's given her probably 7 figures to be champ and be on the roster for the next. She re-signed early. That's likely why. That's what a bunch of these dudes did too, like MJF when he worked everybody. Right, his contract wasn't up. He just renegotiated, signed a new deal. Then they worked it like he was fucking not cool with the company. And the bidding war of 24 was just a work, and it didn't get over. Like everybody knows that. So. Wardlow as well. I was on the air with Husey. You guys got to check that out. But he was like, I heard that he was saying he heard Wardlow just signed recently with AEW to just get shitloads of money and just stay doing what he's like. He's 37, so Tone offers a lot of money to keep people away from the Fed, and he offered Jade Cargill more money and shit and to re-sign before her deal was even up, but she wanted to test the free agency. So yeah, this isn't uncommon. They're acting surprised. Oh, we hope Tekla isn't a dumbass and asked for a fucking signing bonus and a raise. Like, come on, man.
For herself there.
I hope so. I hope so too. And I would suspect if you go and sign a new deal early, because I mean, when would she have first signed? I mean, it probably was barely a year ago, right? Mm-hmm. And she probably signed multi-years. And maybe she signed a 1-year deal. I don't know, but if she signed multi-years,
a 1-year deal, Tone did not do a 1-year deal with anybody.
Negotiating, do a new one. It's probably for a substantial raise, I would think. Maybe, but yeah, I don't know all the details on that. But I don't know. I mean, from her perspective, it in theory, I would think that she should have gotten a raise to sign at this point because.
Oh, in theory, this is how is this insight? How is this insightful? How is this informative? He's just yeah. I mean, I imagine she would have asked for a raise. No shit. Just say yeah. I imagine she got a raise. That's how this works. Gareth, you asshole! Why the fuck did you take us down this path? Holy shit! These two shitheads, man.
Yeah, and. I think she could go to the other side and be valuable.
To the other side, to the dark side. The force is strong in this one, Brian.
Stupid idiot.
Holy. So we move along here. Shout out Tekla. Dave Meltzer, man, he had this to say. And this is courtesy of @AEW Neckbeard. So he says, better not let Dave see this. So check this out, right? Richard L. And again, this is how you shill for AEW, Dave. This is you shilling for AEW, not keeping the same energy for shit. So he goes, would you do a podcast with Vince Russo? Bro, let me tell you, maybe air out the disagreements, learn from each other. And then Meltzer says, sorry, but once you go to gay slurs, it's not worth my time. So does Vince Russo use gay slurs towards Dave or towards anyone? I've never heard that, but okay. I've never heard that. I've never seen that clip. Someone clip me up. And Dave goes, I don't even do podcasts with people I respect very often. I don't think people understand a 40,000 to 50,000 word a week project and watching wrestling. Yeah, Dave, I don't think you understand it either. It's clearly scrambling your brains, but AEW Neckbeard posted this.
That belonged to us too. We want a rematch against Kevin Steen and Super Faggot.
So he won't podcast with you, but he'll fucking glaze you and give you 5 stars.
Poor people don't like AEW.
So we move along here. Just all the instances of how Dave is a Shillington. Right? And so this guy, based CLC, Collins, says, I've made it my mission to call out the bullshit of AEW, Tony Khan, Dave Meltzer, SRS, and Fightful, no matter how long it takes. Dave Meltzer says, there are actually living humans this delusional. But the funniest are the ones this delusional who say it with pride. And it's funny because he's responding to Wrestle Cringe, who crawled out of his fucking dungeon, his cave, out from under that rock. And Wrestle Cringe is like the worst account because they are just cringe, you know? Like if you're going to be an account like Wrestle Cringe or Botchamania or whatever, you got to just be like completely unbiased. It's not about I'm Wrestle Cringe, but I'm owning, just call yourself like WWE is cringe or something, you know? You got to make that your mission. Otherwise it's confusing and then people just turn on you, you know? They don't fucking, they're not going to like you. And just off merit. So it's pretty funny that he just goes full blown sicko, right? It's like whoever that Dave Meltzer account is that comes in and chats with us in chat sometimes during PWT live show and Dave Meltzer Dumb Moment of the Week. You know, you got to just stay in gimmick. 100%. Then it works, you know? So Dave Meltzer is responding to Wrestle Cringe, who's just like, oh, it's like just uber sicko time. So he goes, it's my life mission to make wrestling less entertaining, have fewer jobs for wrestlers, and above all, stay ignorant of the news while doing so. Like, dude, we know you exist, but when you broadcast it like that, you bring shame to your family. I have disgraced my family. Pulls a samurai sword out. Oh my God, Dave, what are you talking? Shut the fuck up.
He had a Cuervo with him the whole time too.
Disgraced your family, dude. You bring shame to your family, and if you ever get a girlfriend and she figures out what you said, you're toast. And now Dave again projecting because everyone's making fun of him squishing the banana in his girlfriend's fucking face or whatever. And how do you know he's not married? How do you know he doesn't have a girlfriend? Dave's all offended at gay slurs, but he's sitting here like, what are you, gay? You don't have a girlfriend or what? Huh, fruitcake? You're toast. You're toast like fruitcake, Bryan. You know what I'm saying? Like, shut up, Dave. Fuck are you? And this one just made me chuckle. But again, it's like he says he's going to call you out. Dave said he calls everyone else's frauds and he wants to call them out. And motherfucker, he can't handle when other people call him out. That's why you're a shill. I don't know if that one applies to AEW, but here's Dave deliberating what the main event of Wembley should be: MJF versus Ospreay or Omega versus Ospreay. And I think the answer is Ospreay winning the world title if they don't. And I guess he's saying, like, should Kenny beat MJF? They're in a good position where it could be either or. I don't think Kenny's main evented All In. I think MJF has, and they like did a whole All In where he opened the show and then closed the show and all this shit. And I think it's Tony Khan, so he's gonna go Omega Ospreay. But either one of these guys, it's good to have this problem for AEW. This isn't like Reigns and Punk and Rhodes and fucking, but it's like for AEW and where they're at, yeah, having Omega or MJF or Ospreay, like I almost feel like Ospreay and Omega should have already happened. That should have happened at the first All In Wembley type shit, you know?
I really sense that there's a lot of people that want the London main event to be Omega versus Ospreay for the championship, while also seeing the success the company's having and going that it's probably not the right time to take the title from MJF, and people going that, on MJF.
I would just keep it on MJF. Like, does Kenny really need it at this point? And MJF's kind of doing the workhorse thing. And if the ratings are really up, if it's up and it's not just, again, you'll never catch me coping trying to debunk Nielsen. Whatever they say the number is, I'm just going to go with that. And so if that's the case, then yeah, MJF's working. Get Joe back in the mix. Joe's only ever helped too, so get him back in there. I want to see Omega versus Joe at fucking All In.
If and Ospreay have already done a match at Wembley.
And then who's Jericho facing? Jericho Kenny, or like where do you get Jericho versus Ospreay for the title and MJF drops it to Ospreay earlier? Who fucking knows? I don't know if you go that direction, but people are kind of hype on Jericho again a little bit. But again, you heard the reaction in Winnipeg. Does that carry over when they go to Cincinnati or fucking Chicago again or whatever? Who knows? They might chant "Please retire" at him again. But anyways,
I don't even think that's a big deal, but there is something to, obviously Ospreay and Omega, they never done a match in London, but they've done I believe it's 2 matches that were absolutely phenomenal
that were he wanted to say the greatest of all time, Bryan.
And I think that
it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
There's a type of fan where that match would be like.
They just shouldn't do it because they've already done it. They can do that anytime. It should just be MJF Ospreay if we're going with these 2 choices, Dave. You don't have to explain it. Like I just said it in 10 seconds.
That they would want, especially right now when the Wembley sales. They're right about 20, which is like, it's good. But
20 distributed, Dave,
for Wembley, like last year, or not last year, 2 years ago when they did the last show, they were first day was 33,700. So they're way down from
Even Dave's admitting it. Thank fuck bass Dave, a bassed flute for fucking Dave right now. Thank God he said it, because it's like, Jesus, man, we have to, this shit needs to be made clear. Like, the only palatable metrics we have, they don't indicate that AEW is doing, they're not up in any other way that we can view other than the shit Dave makes up. And this is just further evidence. That's why we say you're a shill.
2 years ago. And obviously the first day was 60. So I don't know if there's a match that substantially changes that.
There isn't. Go with MJF Ospreay.
Because, Ospreay and Omega is more of a hardcore thing.
If I'm Tone, I'm throwing a bunch of money at Goldberg, and I'm doing Goldberg versus Jericho at Wembley.
And, when you're talking about trying to draw 35, 40,000 people, it's not necessarily going to be the biggest thing. But
so now, Dave, you're fucking burying, like, this is my problem. You just make AEW look like shit when you think you're putting it over. Because what Dave thinks he's doing is like making an excuse for them. Oh, well, it's not so bad. I mean, but like, dude, stop shitting on, like, WrestleMania did 40,000 both nights, and they're talking about it's a travesty. Oh my God, it's the Titanic, the sinking ship. If AEW pulls up to Wembley and does 40,000, good for fucking them, Dave. Shut your mouth.
It does have a special feel more than, to some people, certainly more than MJF. But like I said, like, after that last pay-per-view, after these TV numbers, it's like it feels like the absolute wrong time to do a championship change. So I kind of think that they won't, but I know there's a lot of people hoping that they do. And the story they're telling is, Kenny, last chance, finally feeling 100%, going for the championship. That's the story here. And there's that nostalgia thing of the veteran going for it where people really want to see him succeed. So
people want to see Kenny, like, he's effective right now, because it's just like, have a match and, like, you can be involved, but just don't talk too much. He's trying to reel his cringe in. He's still pretty cringe. He's very like anime-ish with his promos, right? And that's no surprise. But I don't blame a Jim Cornette for being like, I'm never watching this shit again. But, like, as long as Kenny's, again, in bangers and fucking, you give him, this is the right story for him, as far as like, oh, I'm the old vet guy, whatever the fuck. But as far as jumbling the title around now, imagine if the Continental title actually meant something, or the International title or the National title actually meant something, and there was only one of those belts and it actually meant something. And then maybe Kenny goes after that belt against another big name, or whoever isn't in this one goes after another belt with the bit. And then you can, you know what I mean? You wouldn't even be worried about this. You'd be like, well, we have two like heavyweight title level clashes, belt 1A and 1B. Like, the winners of these matches might have to fucking fight each other next, because that's how insane our fucking two divisions are right now. That's the way to do it, but they don't fucking do it, and it's unfortunate. Moving along here. So Dave Meltzer talks about shilling some more, and this guy Jing Bingus says, Dave, your relentless shilling of dorks like the Young Bucks have actively made wrestling less entertaining for everyone except you and people who think like you. You are a hypocrite. Fair assessment. And so this fool here, Dave Meltzer, goes, they were voted in the Hall of Fame by those in the business and reporters covering the business. You're clueless. 2004 take expired about 21 world tag team titles ago. Oh my God, dude. That's
sometimes in life you gotta be a hoe.
You're just doing the splits on it for the Bucks, Dave. Like, listen, man, 21 world tag titles, 21. That mean what? Compared to even like you hold the WWE tag titles twice, and it means more than that to the majority of people, who fucking watch wrestling overall. So, like, what are you talking about? And again, Jason G from the SAT at lifer_1 points out, Uncle Dave is battling online with accounts that have 0 followers. Jesus Christ, Dave, do you need that much validation of your knowledge of wrestling that you feel the need to argue with every single account that disagrees with you? Holy fuck, bro. And this is why Dave gets cooked. And you see these accounts be like, fucking, oh, people just care too much about his star ratings and shit. And it's like, he's a condescending asshole and he thinks they're objective. Okay? We need to fucking knock him down a peg. Or just laugh at him. Just keep doing your thing, Dave. That's all. I just need you to keep doing you, okay? But, he's like your clueless 2004 take. Meanwhile, it's Dave that's stuck back in the past, right? Like it's his 2014 Nuge brain that can't get over, and it won't admit that the formatting of AEW shows have been better. He won't point out the sports entertainment aspects that they've relied on, more packages, more fucking vignettes, more recaps, all of these things. So, and then Hall of Fame and those in the business, like Dave. No, I don't. Who votes in Dave's Hall of Fame, right? So that's the thing. He goes, no, my Hall of Fame is legit. That's him arguing. Nope, my Hall of Fame is very legit. Okay. He's just, this is why people go, no, we got to expose him and call him out, because he thinks he's not only reporting the news, but that the shit he makes up is valid. And that he's not the biggest out of touch fucking hypocrite. And he bees a dick to you, bees in the trap. He is an asshole to you if you don't fucking respect his authority in his mind that only exists in his mind as it pertains to pro wrestling. He literally says he's mastered every aspect of this business, as if he's fucking gone in there and taken bumps and made it in pro wrestling. You know what I mean? He's cooked. So, here is Bryan Alvarez talking about Kyle Fletcher, who caught some fucking heat.
Bryan.
And he caught heat for saying, like, what did he say? He was like, it was the worst day of my life. The day of All In, whichever one. Which one was it? The Wembley one or the Texas one? It was the Texas one, I think, right? And he's like, it was the worst day for me because, like, this and that didn't go according to plan, whatever. But he power bombed fucking Adam Cole on his head, on the apron, and then like ended his fucking career. And now people chalk it up to a lariat. I think Bryan Alvarez is like, oh, I think he's talking about the lariat that landed. Now, here's the thing, right? Adam Cole had 2 concussions and he had the foot thing. So the one concussion that came from a clothesline was from, I think, either Adam Page or Okada, Mr. Okada, right? And then Fletcher power bombed, and then like his foot got hurt after jumping off the fucking thing, and then he was gone for a long time. And then when he came back, and then he got power bombed, and his body looked all frail, and everyone was like, "Is this guy okay?" And then he got power bombed on the apron, neck and head first, by Fletcher. And then Adam Cole was done. So Fletcher, caught a lot of heat for just saying like, oh, it was the worst night of my life or the worst day of my life, whatever the fuck. So let's take a listen here to Bry.
I was pretty much furious.
Shorty pie Bry.
And trust me, I was not the only one. I heard from a lot of people today furious reading this. So the reason that the rug got pulled out from under Fletcher is because the reason the match didn't take place is because he lariated Adam Cole's head off and concussed him, and that's why Cole had to...
So did he also land a big lariat because remember, he got hurt twice, and I'm pretty sure it was from like a rainmaker or a buckshot. Someone hit him with their shit, and then he was like concussed. And then also, like, I don't know, is this sweeping? Is it too deep for me to be like, Bri, you're going to call out the lariat but not bring up a buckle bomb or whatever you want to call it, a power bomb on an apron bomb? Like, was it the clothesline or the apron bomb? Like, when you get fucking rocked in a UFC fight or in an MMA fight, rather, a boxing match, you get up and like your faculties aren't all there. entirely either. And the next 2 shots that land, they might just piece you right up. They might fucking drop you. So like, is it too much for me to accuse Bry of fucking just discounting the apron bomb and saying as the clothesline to try and protect Fletcher or something? I don't fucking know. Maybe that's me like reaching to try and hate on Bry, but it's like, I don't know, man. It just seems like he got power bombed on his head too on an apron. You would think you'd at least bring up that part. It wasn't just the lariat. It was just like a crazy ass, if it even was the lariat. But I think it was a lariat the first time he got concussed, wasn't it? So is he conflating the two things? That's possible. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Try and Bry.
Vacated the title, and I'm not sure if you guys remember or not, but that's pretty much the end of Adam Cole's career. He lariated the guy's head off and concussed him, and the guy had to vacate the title, and they put it up in that multi-person match, which was then won by Dustin Rhodes. So I heard a lot of people, and wasn't just me, a lot of people, the worst day of Kyle's life because he didn't win the belt. I was pretty much furious reading this.
Yeah, so at least Bry calling it out, and that's good that he's at least calling the shit out. So speaking of calling things out here, let me just see the Alley Act stuff. So speaking of calling things out here, Chris Jericho talked about, or pardon me, Dave Meltzer talked about, let me check in with chat just really quick. I see you guys are letting me know what happened. So it was Fletcher who did a nasty lariat, to Cole 3 days before All In. Alvarez did bring up the apron bomb as well. Okay, good. Good thing he did, because it's like, it was everything. Yeah. It was just every move that landed. I don't think he ever recovered from like the first one. And if somebody could pull that and let me know, did Hangman get him with a clothesline too? Someone got him with a fucking clothesline, I want to say, that rocked him, because he had 2 concussion situations in AEW. And it wasn't just that was the second one, because that was after his foot as well. So when his foot was hurt, I think he was still talking about like he had vertigo and shit from the previous concussion thing he had. And I think it was Okada hitting a Rainmaker or something like that too. So I don't know, man. Shout out Adam Cole. I was always such a fan of him. And it's just unfortunate. Well, it's not unfortunate. You guys know why? Because let's say that happened in WWE. Would they have just paid him as much as fucking Tone is probably still paying him to this day, and probably will pay him forever? Maybe. He'd probably have a job in WWE, like producing and shit like that if he wanted. But either way, shout out Adam Cole. So we are talking about AEW shilling, okay? And Dave Meltzer, he did an AEW fan survey. All right. Or he said Jesse Collins is doing this AEW fan survey, and he shared it. So it's not his, but it's someone's. Look at these questions. When did you first start watching AEW? When AEW first started in the first year between 2020 and 2024. If you have stopped or greatly reduced the amount of AEW you have watched in the past year, please elaborate why. How much AEW programming do you watch compared to last year? How good do you think the overall AEW product has been over the past year? It's just funny that Dave is sharing this. Do you in general trust Tony Khan as the lead decision maker in AEW? And it's like, man, you don't have to do a survey to probably if Dave's sharing you, that means you're a sicko mark already. So you don't have to even poll everyone, because we know what the majority is going to answer. Like, it's just so kooky, man. Why did you feel that way about Tony Khan? Do you enjoy WWE? What other wrestling promotions do you watch on a regular basis? Check all that apply. So I don't know. Go and vote your votes. But like, why would Dave even fucking share this? Oh man. Oh my God. It just makes me smile. I'm having such a good time over here. I'm having a good time, having a good time. And so speaking of the shillingness and comparing and whatnot, Dave Meltzer, he goes, is New Japan the best place for a young wrestler to improve rather than WWE or AEW? Right?
I think that there's a lot of value that when you're young, that New Japan is a lot better place for you than WWE or AEW.
Oh my God. Here's the problem. AEW and WWE aren't comparable. They're not even in the same fucking library. They're not on the same page. They're not in the same book. They're not on the same fucking chapter, Dave. They're in different fucking libraries. That's why I kicked your leg from your leg, Brett. I had no good line. Listen, it's not even similar at all. Two different universes entirely. Now, I would say WWE and Nuge in that order are the two best places to learn. Although it might benefit you to go learn in Nuge first and then go adapt to the NXT style. That would be for someone like Callum Newman to explain to me. I don't know. I'm Phil S. Marks. I don't fucking know, right? But Dave doesn't know either at all. But in my opinion, I think it would be NXT is probably the premier place to be trained as like a young lion. In New Japan, being a part of their young lion system is probably the second best for sure. AEW's not even in the conversation whatsoever because you're just training on the indies. Hardly even ROH when he could just turn that into NXT or the young lion dojo of fucking AEW, but he doesn't. And he could use the history to do so as well and explain how the elite level of ROH talent and where they were in this, grand scheme of things lends itself to where AEW wants to be and blah, 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 blah. They could lean into all that shit and then have the coaches with their video packages and all of that stuff of what they accomplished in their time in ROH because they'd all be from ROH. Like Tone is just missing such a big opportunity to invest in with all of his $6.9 billion that he allegedly has. But I would say if you're a wrestler who goes and trains, like you pull a Blake Monroe, you go learn in like the dojos and then you go to, and then maybe do some indie shit and then you go to NXT. I think that would be the path to take if I was playing a 2K fantasy mode where you could take, right? Like, I don't know. I'm a mark. Blake Monroe would have to explain if that's the better way to do things or if she just wishes she was in NXT off jump, but I digress.
Because I just think that the learning curve and the improvement curve is so much greater in New Japan than anywhere else. Maybe CMLL, but CMLL, the style that the style's so much different that you can't necessarily transfer your knowledge of CMLL fully to being a top guy in WWE and AEW.
What about a top guy, Dave?
It certainly helps. Bandito's a real guy, even though he's not a CMLL guy. But he worked all those dates in Mexico. So it's kind of like, the key with Mexico is you get so many dates to work rather than the United States where maybe you're working once a week, maybe less, right? And that's not a great place to learn. But I think that if you're like a young wrestler going to New Japan for about 5-6 years, and then by that point you're so complete.
You're complete. Oh my God.
If you're really good. There's plenty of guys who go to New Japan that aren't good also and aren't going to get that good. But if you're one of those guys who's like at the level
to
of
be complete, you got to go to NXT. I'm sorry.
Something where you really
or maybe not even NXT, but you got to get into that system where they're teaching you like the promo sports entertainment aspect of things as well. That's how you get the big money from Tone if you're Zeta Steel and shit, okay? That's been proven time and again, Dave. You have the worst fucking takes. You're still Nuge brained from fucking a decade ago.
To be the best. I think that because I look at like Newman from now and from a year ago and from 2 years ago, and the difference is amazing. And no one's improving at that level in the United States. You can't in WWE the way it's structured because you're not.
Oh my God,
you just don't have the experiences. Plus, you're working before dead crowds, and you're working for hot crowds. And you're working with all kinds of different people because they shuffle you around. You're working openers, you're working main events. But I think that really hit me is that I think the best place if you're in your early to mid 20s and you get a chance to work in New Japan or WWE or AEW, while you think, oh, the money's better and I'm going to the big time now, it's probably better not to go to the big time now and then make your name there. And then at a point where your name is really big, maybe not WWE, but AEW.
God, so
absolutely.
he just literally fucking Shills. Maybe not WWE. The big time is AEW because they just pay you so much fucking money. So I guess it's the big time.
Maybe not WWE.
So why not just take it and fucking go get it earlier then, Dave? Well, if you want to be a good worker, but in AEW, a bunch of them aren't fucking good as you say they are, buddy.
But AEW absolutely will bring you in and do something with you, I think.
Absolutely, because you're fucking advising them to do so, you goddamn shill. Jesus Christ, just take this Cope video and say that it's about Tony Khan. So Meltzer said what goes, I love how Dave makes this argument about going to New Japan in your early 20s to learn to work and get more experience, which you can certainly make a case for. And then ends with, once your name is big enough, you can go to AEW, not WWE. It's literally how this video ends. It's just like, fuck you, man. It's so stupid. So Dave Meltzer, again, he just continues to shill and shill away he does. So he talks about Jericho, who showed up in AEW, Time Cop. And he said that Jericho's reportedly not expected in WWE anytime soon, if ever. And now all of a sudden on April 1st, he has the scoop after smiling and being all coy, which we covered on the show. Oh, maybe he'll go back. Yeah, sure. Maybe he'll go to WWE. And it's like, okay, dude, he fucking just knows. They just blew up Jericho's spot. When Jericho wasn't in the Rumble, I was defeated as far as like him showing back up in WWE. I wanted it to happen, but it just seemed Winnipeg April Fools. I called it a mile away. And shout out PWT Universe, whoever, when we were going over the schedules, one of you guys out there pointed out, or maybe it was in a comment on YouTube or something, but someone pointed out, hey, Phil, Dynamite's in fucking Winnipeg on April Fools. It's like, okay, that's obviously what Jericho's gonna fucking do. But it became so obvious Jericho wasn't even trending until later, till he officially debuted. That's how obvious it was. And people were like pictured with Jericho. And then that's when Dave starts dropping stories about regarding Jericho. I was told WWE was not going to expect him anytime soon. And that's the thing. Like, I don't even know if he was negotiating. Right? Like his last deal might have still not been up yet. But when it comes down to it, he could still show up in WWE at some point, but it's just funny how Dave shilled again for AEW to try and protect this, right? And Jericho's an infamous backstage worker. I had Husey on today. We were talking about how Jericho's an infamous backstage worker, and people who know him know that, he will also work people by having people leak things out there, but it's not him doing it, but it's like obviously kind of it's from him, but it's not from him. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny that Dave now has all the scoops when he probably just asked Tony, like at any point, and this is why we say Dave shilling, because at any point he could have just called up Tony and debunked the contract the same way that all these sheets want to spoil fucking title changes and contracts and all of this stuff. But when it comes to Jericho, Dave doesn't. He could have just called up Tone and been like, so is Jericho, like, we know that Tone calls you. Why didn't you ask him? Is Jericho's deal up? Instead, he goes on a show and he's like, oh, he might show up. Who knows? He might be there, Bryan. So it is what it is. But he's back in AEW Time Cop, and here's Dave's assessment of it.
Yeah. We got to start talking about Jericho.
Well, we can talk about Chris Jericho now. He's back.
He's back in AEW, yeah. A couple days ago, I woke up and I had a text message, which you had as well, about Jericho and WrestleMania. And then as soon as I woke up, like 5 minutes later, I got a phone call from somebody saying Jericho's going to be in Winnipeg for AEW. But I mean, it's like it's
so was there a negotiation? There's no proof that they even negotiated at any point. Okay, but I will say this: I'm fairly certain that I'm not fairly certain. I'm deadly certain. I'm not a dirt sheet, but Dom and Jericho like was discussed as a main. That's like a thing I guess WWE is throwing around. So Jericho versus Dom, which would have fucking ruled as well. So maybe his deal was up. I don't know. Was up. But if he re-signed with Tone, it is for astronomical fucking money.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
Again, Jericho's had some stellar podcast guests as well lately, and I'm fantasy Mark booking like the Fanatics and all that shit, but he doesn't need that necessarily. You know, he's doing the damn thing. And I want to see him in WWE again. I think that there's a lot of casuals who would like to see that, and they would have went nuts. I know a lot of WWE fans are like, thank fuck he never showed up to WWE again. But I think they would have popped for it too. And people would have been defending it who are like, well, thank God he didn't show up. And that's cool if you didn't want him there. And I've said this before. I think that AEW fans really don't care if he's there or not. And yes, you got to pop in Winnipeg, but they're in fucking Winnipeg. And let's face it, they weren't singing Judas as loud as crowds once were in the past. And there's 4,000 people there. So if Jericho wants to do 18,000 Raws and be a part of Saudi and all that, cool. But if Tone's like, I'll give you 10 million over the next, sign with me, you get 10 million over the next 2 years, just resign or whatever. I don't even think there's proof in negotiations, but you can't fault Jericho. And I liked his debut, his return, and him just saying, I'm home. And then he just dips out. I like that. That's what WWE would have done. The sickos would have hated that if that was his return in WWE. I promise you, they'd have shit all over that shit. And Dave knew this whole time Jericho, I think, wasn't going to be there. And he's talking about, we got a message. So Dave's like, I woke up. And this is the thing, too. He's just talking out of his ass. He's like, I woke up and there was a text message saying Jericho at WrestleMania. Then I woke up, like 5 minutes later, I woke up and my phone's ringing. And it's saying that Jericho's in Winnipeg and whatnot. And it's just like, all right, Scoops, then why didn't you fucking report all of this stuff? But if it was fucking Sami Zayn's return, he'd blow it up. You guys know what I'm saying? Like Royce Keys, they can't wait to blow up the spot. MJF returns in the UK. Nobody's talking about it. Ricochet makes these stupid ass comments. Nobody's talking about it. But as soon as Sami Zayn gets a title switch or this guy's making a return or a fucking debut, Dave doesn't want to talk about Jericho's fucking, he knew this whole time. He could have just asked Tone at any time. That's why you're a shill, Dave, because you could just ask Tone and be like, hey, is his deal even up? Was it really frozen? Which it wasn't. Tone doesn't freeze guys like Jericho, but
it's not something you can go with because but it was what I heard. So I checked with WWE, because I know he'd been talking to WWE. They thought at one point he was going. And the response from WWE was that he is not coming to WWE now, anytime soon, and maybe never. It was weird.
It was always maybe never.
They try to make a gigantic thing.
And I don't even think it's maybe never, though. But it's always maybe never, like as far back as when people were saying, oh, he signed a 10-year deal and all this shit. But I don't think, I've always maintained, even in the 10-year deal, I was like, contracts can be broken, man. Like if he's friends with Tone, you can be like, Tone, we got to part ways here. It's like, I think we'll see Jericho back in WWE to accept a Hall of Fame, maybe have a match, like a one and done. I'm retired now. And then he'll just go work in AEW. I could totally see that happening. Honestly, WWE should just start doing it. It's not like AEW will ever figure out how to like beat WWE. I just don't see that ever happening. The infrastructure, the way it's operated, the level of star power, the brand power. It's just AEW like, okay, a Dynamite beats a Raw. Well, that's good for wrestling. I don't give a fuck if that does end up happening. That'd be a good thing. It would mean they're doing something right, but I just don't think they're capable. I don't think Tone's capable unless he gets out of his own way to really take it to that level ever. It doesn't matter how much money you have, as we've seen the last 7 years, or he'd be there. Bischoff didn't even have control of all of the money, and he was able to fucking get WWE fucking start whooping their ass. So, yeah.
Out of it. And, they had a nice crowd in Winnipeg. It was over 4,500. But it wasn't really like they weren't that loud. Put it this way: if he was on,
Jericho's not gonna be around either. Again, I did a pod with Husey. I'm gonna try and get it out. We previewed WrestleMania, and he came through with the heat and updates on Conan and all of that shit. And Jericho is, I don't think, like, he might not be on the next week's Dynamite. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just did this to try and pop like a rating. He'll probably be there for the pay-per-views and shit going forward. He just trademarked Cornerstone. I hope he's there. He better be there. I hope he worked it out so that he's there. But I don't blame Jericho for 1 second taking $10 million, let's just say, and fucking do now, and then he gets to go home and do shows with Nicole Kidman and fucking still do his cruise and have fucking Liam Neeson on his podcast and Pamela Anderson. Do you know what I'm saying? He had fucking Van Halen on his podcast.
WWE show, the reaction would have been much louder, but perhaps, like I said, perhaps
fucking Kiss and shit. He's got everybody. Jericho's pulling crazy guys. He's fucking Joe Rogan now, dude.
The building wasn't mic'd well. He looked in great shape.
Looked younger.
And then he goes, the building wasn't mic'd well. No, Dave. It's Winnipeg, buddy. Don't try and fucking lie to me about it.
Yeah, well rested.
Yeah. Looks well rested. Yeah, he honestly does. Like, and he's just touring around having fun with his quarantine band and shit. That rules. So again, we talked about the Fletcher thing. I mean, we don't need to go into that. Dave Meltzer talks about why Jericho chose AEW over WWE, though. Again, and he's gonna fucking shill here.
I mean, from the WWE standpoint, and
I'm kind of shilling it too. I'm selling the game a little bit. Like, it's just astronomical money. That's all it takes. You know, Dave is gonna go on a 2-minute spurg out here, but it's just because the amount of money. Because let's face it, losing Jericho's like a dagger. There's certain guys, if you lose Kenny, the Bucks, Rhodes is one of them, Punk a little bit, but Rhodes was one of them. If you lose like Omega, Jericho, those are like daggers to the MJF. That's like a dagger to the soul of Tony Khan, dude. So Dave's
the young superstar, babyface, that former heel thing. So I don't know what they told him. Okay. I know what I was told, and I was told that as far as they wanted him for a retirement tour, okay, and maybe
they keep calling everything retirement tour. It's not retirement tour, you asshole. They don't want Miro for a retirement tour when they sign him to fucking 2 years. It's just when you're older and shit, they sign you up to a couple years. And then you'll do the retirement. It's like remember AJ's retirement tour? And then everyone had to go, oh, we were witnessing his retirement tour and didn't even know it. And it's like, well, know it, dude. Brock Lesnar's retirement tour is it's happening right now. Okay? Orton's retirement tour, we're in the midst of it. Retirement tour. Is that like a year? We got to, this fucking term, I don't like. That got popularized, but I guess it's a good descriptive fucking, but they're not pitching it like your retirement to it, but like they surprised AJ with the Hall of Fame thing. They'd obviously pulled the same shit. Like Jericho would do his run. You'll put this guy over, 2-year deal. Fucking, and then they won't tell him about the Hall of Fame to surprise him or whatever. Like it's, but we're putting this label retirement tour. It's like he could be on his AEW retirement tour for all we fucking know. The guy's older. Like, how long do we see him wrestling for? He's fucking older. He's going to wrestle for like 3 more fucking years. So this is his retirement tour then. This is the start of his AEW retirement. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, when guys get fucking older, it's like they might retire, okay? We got to, especially when you're AJ and you like call your spot. Like AJ told everyone, I'm retiring. Then everyone's shocked. It's his retirement tour? Yes, motherfucker. The Usos probably too. I don't even see them wrestling that many more years. So
that's not what he wanted. I don't know. I just know that
Damian Priest and Truth. Why did they win the fucking tag belts? It's their retirement tour. Re-sign Truth so he can retirement tour, even though this was his retirement tour, getting retired by John Cena. What more could you ask for? Now he's just like doing ESPN ads and he just wins the tag titles because they got to fit Priest and Truth on there because they're both 50 before they retire. They got to fucking
told me
get a fucking WrestleMania match or a Raw after Mania tag team match.
That they wanted him for a retirement tour, and that was it. With AEW, perhaps he was going to get more longevity. I mean, like all things equal, and they're never all equal, I thought WWE was the place for him to go. But like I said, they're not all equal. There's a lot of advantages for AEW, and there's always money. And
just money. It's just money, Dave. WWE would have let him do all his same shit, just way less money.
May have been offered more money in AEW.
He absolutely was, and you know that if that was the case, if there even was a negotiation that nobody's even confirmed or denied yet.
And it's funny for him. I mean, I don't know, because during this whole period, we had not talked at all, during this whole period, as far as
we don't believe you. No one believes that.
Anything to do with this, because I know he's not going to talk, it's not something he's going to talk about because he wants it a secret. As far as, I think that for him at this stage of his life, and
I think my conspiracy theory is that his deal is not up. It's whatever he signed before, and we could still see him in like the next couple, in the next couple of years. We could see him do his last 1 year run, 2 year run in WWE or whatever the fuck, and then go back to AEW. I just see him taking a job with Tone. It's not like you can't go back to WWE for a year, then go back. It's not like you have to break Tone's heart or fucking slap a Jack Perry to fucking go over.
His money situation is probably pretty great, I would think. He made a lot of money in these years in AEW. And
his whole career, Dave. His whole career, but especially AEW.
Especially at the age he's at and everything like this, that he's going to want to do.
Especially AEW year per year. He probably made more in AEW year per year than fucking ever based off Tone's salary for him. Really think about that. How much does that rule? If I was an Edge, I'd go there too. If I was Jericho, I'd go there too.
Do what's creatively fulfilling and fun. And AEW is a little bit of a risk in the sense of not the creative fulfilling, because he'll probably have more input into what he's going to do in AEW than he would in WWE. But he'd have a better audience in WWE, I think, for sure. But, the better audience.
I think for sure. A better audience, I think for sure. Yes, Dave. 18,000 people at Raw, 4,000 in Winnipeg for Dynamite.
That is certainly part of the deal, but money is part of the deal. Creative freedom is part of the deal.
I think it's better for the wrestling war too, because if Jericho comes in, if there is one, because if Jericho just goes back to WWE, it's like, well, that's what a bunch of guys are doing now. Cardona and everyone's jumping. So Jericho likes to be different. And so he's like, I'll stay in AEW and try and, the ratings are up. Let me come back.
What each side's plans are as part of the deal. There's a lot of other factors involved. I think that there's less risk in WWE in the sense that the crowd is not going to be as difficult for him in WWE. But, this is his decision. His decision was AEW, and I'm sure that he considered every one of these points and many other points when making this decision.
Yeah, I'm sure he did, and I'm sure you guys never spoke. So, guys, we have Dave Meltzer here talking about WrestleMania versus All In and what's going on this WrestleMania season. He, of course, is grifting off of WrestleMania. So let's check this out here, because Dave Meltzer, he is just absolutely melting down about the build. Meanwhile, he is, and Bryan is too, but meanwhile, he is they are going there to grift off of the fucking, do their own con or like fanfare or whatever, fan fest. And we've talked about that. So Bryan Alvarez talks about NXT. Well, here, let's just go into this, okay? So they're talking about going all the way with Obafemi. Pause. And Dave Meltzer's questioning, should they go all the way with Obafemi at WrestleMania? And I think this is the best build of any match Like maybe Punk and Roman, you could kind of argue, but this is the match I'm the most excited for. It's going to be like 4 minutes of just carnage and wreckage and chaos. And we're going to get Oba versus Brock, and it's going to fucking rule. And there's tons of heat on this, and I've loved this whole fucking thing. Let's hear Dave and Bry talk about if WWE should go all the way with Oba Femi.
I would not be adverse at all for him to win that championship in 2026. If it truly is lightning in a bottle.
I think he's going to beat Brock, and I think this is one of Brock's last Manias, and I think Oba's going to win the title in 26, at least the World Heavy.
I think you've just got to go with it until it doesn't work. I mean, I don't think that it's sitting there and just go like, you just make him one of the guys. Because it's very, making one of the guys is tough because then he's got to come back from being just one of the guys. Timing's everything. If the momentum's there, maybe SummerSlam though, maybe I wouldn't be adverse to that one. Because if you wait till Mania, you could wait till Mania, but then it's like, okay, he beat Brock Lesnar. What's he gonna do? You're gonna, who do you put him in there with? To have him run through everybody, you could do the Goldberg thing,
but the book
you could do the Goldberg thing. Oh my God,
is kind of anti the entire Goldberg experience.
And they're very much into paying your dues and not getting it too fast. But what if he's probably not going to cool off too much, but timing's everything, though. I think a lot depends
he's
on
looping
how it all goes down with Lesnar. If he comes out of Lesnar really, really, really hot, I think it's best to go with it.
Yeah, no shit, Dave. But again, now you're talking about just beating Punk or beating Rhodes or whoever the fuck comes out with those titles. Roman wins it, and then Oba could beat him. That'd be huge for him, sure. But as far as Mania is concerned, he's like, he beats Brock, then what? Now, I'm not saying this will happen, but what if Brock wins? God damn it, Oba's got to win that match. I think Brock is usually talks a lot of shit, but he's like, no, I'm gonna like put the future over and whatnot. So, yeah, I don't know. I think Gunther's going to retire Brock. This is my bold prediction at SummerSlam.
I would not be.
Or next WrestleMania if Brock can stretch it out until then. So speaking of stretching out, they're talking about Jelly Roll here. So I don't know. Does he stretch out his loose skin? Is that wrong for me to ask? I don't. He's lost a lot of weight. It's a compliment. God damn it. I don't know. Terrible transition, but they're just kind of mocking Jelly Roll being in the mix here leading up to WrestleMania, which I haven't liked too much either. Like the Orton Rhodes build hasn't been too good, but I think that the Triple H reveal, hopefully at WrestleMania, like he's on the other end of the phone. And shout out JJ Alexander, who said that on his show, where he also yelled at me about Oba Femi again, and it was fucking hilarious. But if Triple H is on the other end and then like they screw Rhodes out of the title to keep him babyface for longer, maybe people will get fed up with that, but people are already booing Triple H anyways. And I don't know, Jelly Roll's been like a focal point of this feud, and there's so much more history between Orton and fucking Rhodes to where you don't need to put Jelly Roll as like a focal point. Like this should be whatever the fuck Danhausen or Kit Wilson's doing, and I know it was that, but it's like, I don't know. It is what it is. I hope he just doesn't come out there and get involved during their match and shit. That'll piss me off.
Man, this Jelly Roll dude, he cut the
not
best
that
promo.
Not that he's bad. Yeah, and I was gonna say Bry's gonna put him over here, and I'm being sour. Your boy Phil's being sour towards it, but it's like he did good shit with Kit Wilson and all that, but then he comes back out and he does him just like eating RKOs and shit. Rhodes is like, how dare you RKO him? And it's like, come on, man. You could easily do better shit with Orton and fucking Rhodes with all their history and what these guys are capable of instead of RKOing Jelly Roll. It's like, oh, come on, man. Is he going to be like Rhodes's Mr. T? He's going to come out in his corner in the Nightmare Factory swag or what?
I know what it's like to be the bad guy, to be judged for the worst version of yourself, the worst decision you've ever made, but I'm not here to judge you. You light this place up. These people used to fear you, but you became a better person, a better man. Not sure why you're fighting so hard to go back to being a version of yourself that you beat. Don't let that monster in. He goes, you changed this business by being not a wrestler, but a husband, a dad. But I don't know the guy who did that to Cody last week. I don't know if you got somebody in your ear, but the real Randy knows titles and money come and go, but family and friends are forever. It's about what you do with your life, and I love you. And Randy says, Jelly, what am I supposed to do? And Jelly says, go find Cardona, and you do the right thing. And Randy says, all right, man, I hear you. I love you. And he leaves. It's like, oh, my God.
And this is from the other week, by the way. Again, we had a couple week hiatus from
this Jelly Roll is incredible. This guy is incredible. Like, where did they find this guy? So then Kit Wilson comes out.
Yeah, the shit they did with Kit Wilson was good. I would have liked to see that get stretched out all the way to like the Go Home show. That would have been cool. Jelly Roll versus Kit Wilson at the Go Home show in Vegas, I'm assuming. Is that where it is? The SmackDown Go Home. But maybe they have another plan. I don't know. I just don't need to see him interjected into all of this shit. And yeah, I hope Triple H gets involved and they do like an authority fucking thing. So again, Dave Meltzer says Bronson Reed's injury was the deciding factor behind the shift to Rhodes versus Orton and Drew versus Jacob. Rhodes versus Orton was always the planned direction, but it was originally set to be Rhodes' major program at WrestleMania after WrestleMania. Then how the fuck did Bronson Reed affect that? Right? Because we see the 6-man. We were hearing shit over here at PWT where it was like Priest and LA Knight and Bad Bunny, or like Rey Mysterio, Priest and Bad Bunny, or like LA Knight and the Usos versus the Vision, like Reed, Theory, Paul, whatever, and we in a 6-man. And I was like, what the fuck? Even then I was like, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense, but that's what I'm hearing. And then it's like, now we're seeing it. It's I Show Speed and the Vision with whatever. So was it supposed to be Bronson with them? Like, I don't know if Davey's like, that's always the plan. How the fuck did Reed affect Orton in any way? Was Reed, they're saying Reed was supposed to win the chamber, or he could have still been in the chamber, but then the finish could have been the exact same, right? Like Reed just goes out after hopefully not tsunamiing off the fucking top and missing and breaking his ankles. I don't know. But yeah, Dave's always on one. Dave talks about how the WWE's been in negotiation with Tom Brady. Now, Shawn Michaels was also like, yeah, I'd stick Tom Brady in there with Brock. That's what we do. And if you don't think Brock's legit, and he didn't say nothing about WrestleMania, nothing. So Dave might just be lying.
The flag football game was yesterday. And I guess Brady threw the ball at Logan Paul. They shot an angle at the game. And I mean, this whole thing, the LA Times actually called it an angle for WrestleMania. From what I have been told, they are in negotiations with Tom Brady, but there's absolutely not a deal at this point for Tom Brady. So it could happen. Obviously, Logan Paul and Tom Brady are working. I mean, everyone knows they're working the angle. I think people have seen that coming in. But there could be something in some form at WrestleMania. Would not be a surprise. And what they did in the football game was clearly to build it.
I don't know. Maybe Tom Brady, like, shut this old dumb guy up, because that never happened. And clearly it was like something with the fucking Usos was brewing with this whole Vision stuff, especially when Seth comes back. It's like, all right. And then Tom Brady, it's like, yeah, he'll be in the front row and fucking distract Logan Paul in their 6-man tag maybe or something. Like, okay, I could see that. But there's rumors Lil Yachty as well as training and shit. And I don't know. So Dave Meltzer talks about WrestleMania, and he says it's the most second-guessed show in the history of fucking pro wrestling. Now, thanks to Meltzer Said What the Goat on PWT live show every Wednesday Wednesday and Saturday, Time Cop. I did a sort of a contrast of like, here's what people were saying about WrestleMania 17, which ended up being the greatest WrestleMania of all time in many people's books. And people are like, the build was real. But meanwhile, we have messages, like people on message boards with the same criticisms. The build wasn't good. It's all last minute. A face versus a face. How dare you do a fucking... They just don't know what they're doing. The company trajectory, blah, blah, blah. Wrestling overall is dead and all this shit. Same fucking things. It's second guessed, blah, blah, blah. And now Dave is just regurgitating that same shit now. And he's been the catalyst of a lot of this. Everyone knows it. And again, the build matters. The event matters. That's when you get something magical like 40, right? But sometimes there's manias where the build is shit and the show's shit, or the show's really good, or the build was shit, or the build was good and then the show's shit, vice versa. You guys get it. Okay? The greatest fucking manias probably are a combination of both, but if we're to go by WrestleMania 17, then no, because that was a shit build according to a lot of fucking people online. Let's listen to Dave Meltzer talking about the deals they did and all the second guessing, even though they do the 316 deal. They do deals all the fucking time. They've done this a million times.
The Austin 316 promotion worked very well for them.
Yeah, 2,000 tickets roughly each night for WrestleMania off the promotion. So instead of being like 18% behind, they're like 11% behind last year. They panicked over it. I mean, like this card's just been, I mean, this. I think that this show for Mania, I think it's the most second guess show that I've ever seen in the history of Mania. I've seen shows, there's injury changes and they had, obviously, Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins.
Okay, Rollins is back.
Bronson Reed changed the trajectory of everything, even though I think there's Seth Rollins will be back. Braun Breaker, could be back. Reed won't be back. But, you have that but just like the whole, just that card just kept changing and changing and changing since January.
Oh my God, imagine that.
And one of the things where they panicked was those ticket sales. It's like, people don't even know the card. Don't blame the card.
Yeah, that was the exact criticism. And then Bix and Span called in to trash the Mania to Dave, and he was defending it back then. We had the clip. We played it on the PWT live show in a mini Meltzer moment of the week. But yeah, Dave is like, they don't even know the card yet. Okay, that was the same criticism of 17. People were in January going, we don't even know the card. Why would we fucking... Right? So Dave just epically failing. And so speaking of ticket sales, and then we'll get more into the matches, Dave weighs in on like, why are the ticket sales for All In and Mania sluggish? And it's like, Dave, Mania is doing 2 nights in a row what All In will do barely one night after Tone papers the house. You're a shill. This is more shilling, but in the WWE section.
Do we know if that 25% off helped out much with WrestleMania yet?
Little bit. I mean, I think they were at about 41 and just under 40, a little over 41 for Sunday and just under 40 for Saturday. So it helped a little bit. They're 13% behind, but they're gonna have a full building and they're gonna have a great gate.
So who's 13% behind? Is he talking about WrestleMania? And then tourism overall is down. I think it was 12% in Las Vegas. So is there a correlation possibly to that? I don't know, Dave. It was like 11 or 12%, I think, overall the last I checked. I think they've been trying to remedy it a little bit. Places making things a little cheaper, trying different promotions, I guess, and stuff. I already said this a million times, but there's like, I guess, a hotel that's like, we accept Canadian currency at this hotel. Like, well, they made this change to try and get Canadian customers. Apparently, like the Canadian tourism in Vegas is like way down, like more than the overall average or whatever the fuck. But again, I don't know. I'm not a journalist like Dave here, so let's listen to him.
It's just, I mean, it's the demand is lower than last year for a multitude of different reasons. The reality is the demand for Wembley Stadium tickets is lower as well. And again, in both cases, part of it in both cases, it's the same stadium. It's probably better to do stadiums about, once every 7-8 years, or 5 years, maybe 5. Well, for WrestleMania, probably about 10 years is probably good.
Oh,
for AEW.
Fuck up. They did 40,000 both nights. Dave, But it wasn't 57,000, Brian.
Wembley.
For Wembley, AEW, it's because AEW is going down, 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 down overall every year.
Realistically, maybe, I don't know the perfect thing, but maybe 5 years is the right number. I don't know. It's hard to say, because the thing is, you're never gonna have another first. And
that first kiss, that first whiff of her perfume, that first banana squished in her face.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. The number of fans that are there, that are willing to go to a big live show, it's not an infinite number, and a lot of people
no shit
go just for the experience. And once you've had that experience, it's like, I've already done that. I don't need to spend a whole day there and whatever. I've been to wrestling at Wembley Stadium in front of 80.
And see, it's just cope. So it's WrestleMania scrambling, and they're fucking scrambling, and everything's so bad. And Tony Khan. And then it comes to Wembley. It's like, I mean, you already did it, so why do you do it? I guess just like buying the pay-per-views, Brian. Everyone takes turn. One AEW fan per 4 fans every year buys one pay-per-view. They take turns. They alternate. This year, it's not my turn to go to Wembley, Brian. Why is it always this fucking coping and making up fucking excuses?
You are coping and seething. You just can't accept what you're seeing. Yes, you're coping and seething. The truth it is scalding, and now you are molding and coping so hard. Coping and seething.
So when it comes to AEW, it's like, oh, well, it's the same building. Even though wasn't the last one in Texas? In Texas, B? Wasn't it in fucking Texas? Right? It's all bleeding together now. That was the last one, right? So it's like the same building. Okay. But when people said it's the same building for Mania, and instead of drawing fucking, they claim they did 81,000, and now they're going to do 40,000 if they're lucky. And what did Mania do in Vegas last year? It was like closer to 60,000. They're going to do 40,000 both nights, 2 nights in a row. Like, somehow that's not a valid. Well, it's the same building. Now the same building's an excuse for Dave when it's AEW. Come on, man.
Baby, learn Meltzer Inferno.
Insane, dude.
1,000 people. So, which was a big draw the first time. So do I really need to go for 35,000 people since it's been done already?
Oh, man. Dave. So we move along here, and Dave talks about the CM Punk versus Roman Reigns build. Okay, which, again, Reigns is clearly leaning into the heel role more than, even though Punk, like, they're both kind of tweenerish in a way, but Punk was like the dead dad line, but that doesn't necessarily make him a heel, right? Like, he is just kind of meeting Roman where he's at, going low with the old man shit and all that stuff, and he buried everyone. Oh yeah, I'll bury you. Like, he's just matching Roman's intensity, but his actions aren't necessarily heel. Now, when you see Roman say things to the Usos, it's not necessarily heel, but it's more heelish, I guess, to be like, now get your brother and tell him to fucking whatever. But he's like big brothering. He's the big Us. He's the chief, So is it really heel shit? I don't know. They're both kind of tweenerish, but Roman, I think, has been more the aggressor, which I think puts you more in the heel role. But Dave does have a good assessment here as far as just with this headline reading. Doesn't matter if you're heel or babyface, the crowd wants to see action and violence. But I think that's diminishing. Well, let's just take a listen. It's because Roman and Punk are so over. Like, not everyone can do this. Like, you can't just be violent with Darby and have him fighting some other guy and, oh, they're tweeners and you can't do that, man, necessarily, because then it's Gabe Kidd and they don't give a shit, because that's action and violence too, right? But it's like a joke and like a Looney Tunes cartoon. So when you're super over, you can get away with the tweener shit.
I mean, tonight it was really interesting because with Roman Reigns at the end, when he destroyed Punk, you would think Punk's like the the most popular full-timer in the entire company, or he's pretty full-time now. I mean, he's on TV almost every week, and and the people, like, he came out, got this incredible reaction when he comes out. Then Reigns, beats him up at the end, power bombs him through the table, and they're chanting one more time. That's just how it is. They want to see cool moves, and it's not baby faces and heels to them. It's just cool shit, surprise.
Well,
violence.
in that feud, it is
cool
too.
Shit, surprises. Except cool shit, surprises. Well, it's not actually AEW does surprises. WWE, nothing surprising to me, Brian. I know everything.
Faces. I mean, Roman Reigns has pretty much been healed. He's been cheered every single time he's done anything. I mean, they chant OTC. They're totally in him as a baby face.
But the same with Punk. But I think, like, if you are laying him out or something like that, the people still are going to go one more time just because they want to see, put him through a table. That's the deal that they want to see. They want to see that type of violence. And if it was the other way, I think that if Punk put him through Roman Reigns through the table, I think it would have been the same way. I think the people would chant one more time.
Yeah, because they are fucking marks, and they chant one more time at table spots because they're fucking sickos and wackos. So here is Dusty Dave talking about the uphill battle with Orton being a heel at Mania against Rhodes. Now, I don't know, man. Yeah, I mean, this match build hasn't been my favorite. It's not the worst shit ever. I love the finish to the chamber. You guys have heard my fantasy mark booking with it. This is a marquee match. There's a reason it's happening. Someone is on the phone. It's being held really close to the chest or the vest, however you want to fucking word it. And like, who is on the other end of the phone? Some people say he's talking to voices in his head. Some people say he's talking to Vince McMahon. Some people think he's talking to Shane. Some people think it's Cowboy. Well, it's not Cowboy Bob. They're being too overt with that. Some people think it could be Ted DiBiase Jr., who is on some old man stream doing a fucking phone in, getting a phone call. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm just trying to think, how do they shake things up in WWE? And we're in this attitude era-ish type era again, where everybody's got these fucking over-the-top catchphrases and entrances, and fucking it's chaos and carnage, and we see blood, and you get a shit word in there, and people are telling each other to suck it, and fucking, I don't know. How do you keep Rhodes babyface? He fights against the man, and we all, because everyone's going to boo Triple H anyways. So does Triple H just lean into it? JJ Alexander came up with that idea over on White Heat, and he sold me on it. I was like, that could be a throwback. And if it works, it works. It'll work really well. It's been a long time. It's been a while. Shout out Nickelback. But it's been a while, or no, they don't sing that, do they? It's been a while since who gives a shit? Who gives a shit about my goddamn bad singing? Okay. But it's been a minute since we've had like an authority figure that isn't trying to be all chummy with everyone and like, oh, we settle things in the ring. And who knows, like, you could have an instance where you see Drew calling out Nick Aldis today, and he's like, I want Aldis in a match. I'm Drew McIntyre. I want Aldis in a match after I'm done with Jacob. Drew, I don't even want the title, Cody Rhodes. So who knows, man? Maybe Triple H is like on SmackDown throwing his weight around, or unauthority figure. Maybe it's not Triple H, but and then Aldis and Pierce are like, yo, fuck this guy, man. You're throwing your weight around, da-da-da-da-da. And then it ends up, and Aldis is like, fuck you. And then he eventually gets that match with Drew that everyone wants, that now Drew's publicly stating he wants. I don't know, man. I'm just, JJ Alexander kind of sold me on that one. But it could just be the voices in his head and he's all crazy, man. It could be that too. Let's listen to Dave's take on this uphill battle.
The original idea was Cody and Roman, and then, there's a million changes. And then Cody and Drew.
I don't think it was Cody Roman. And again, Husey just comes dropping fucking bombs on
Allegedly.
the pod we did, but he's been adamant for the longest time now that Roman and Rock is something, and he's like, maybe they do that in Saudi, but that's something that like they want more than anything. So when Dave's like, the plan always was, there's multiple plans all the time. You always got to remember that. You always have to remember there's multiple plans all the fucking time. Okay? And Dave never acknowledges that. It's like this was set in stone, and then this was set in stone. And it's like if they had their way, they'd be doing Roman Rock already. They haven't fucking done it. They can't pull it off. So like, was this really the whole plan, or was Road Dogg leaving and then them sort of shifting around last minute and Drew getting the short end again? A little bit. He's getting the short end a little bit on this. But anyway.
And then Randy would be involved with Cody afterwards and probably go heel. I think that all was probably the direction. I mean, the one thing is that if he went heel later, I think he would have had a little bit better chance of actually being a heel, because at WrestleMania, I just see, everyone's there they want to see a championship change hands. And plus, I think that a lot of that fan base is going to be a fan base that wants to see Cody lose because it's happening, and they'll probably boo Cody. So then, you get the heel win, getting a babyface reaction, which is, again, there's nothing wrong with if you do it that way, or Cody wins. I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's just what the crowd is going to do. It's, put it this way. I don't think that Cody Rhodes winning or losing is in any way, shape, or form going to change business one way or the other. So I think it's a foolproof decision in the sense that business will be fine either way. Mm-hmm. Whatever decision they make, you know what I mean, in that match, you can always have Orton win and have Cody win it 3 months later, and you're not hurting anything or your balance if you think that Cody's the long-term guy.
Yeah. When everybody's like, Rhodes is the top merch guy, like he's definitely one of them. But imagine like, because Triple H could be like, dude, you fucking smashed that throne of me and all of that shit. Well, I didn't bring you in, because Vince McMahon brought Rhodes in. And H could be like, dude, I didn't even want you fucking here type shit. Maybe. Who knows? Because everybody thinks that Triple H doesn't want Randy to tie his 15 championships either. And that's what that'll mean. So it's just an ultimate swerve. Shout out JJ who came up with that. So moving along here. Dave talks more about Lesnar and Femi. Oh, yeah, we should have played this before. Oh, well, he talks about if they should main event. Now, this one has got me more hype than either of the title matches. I got to be perfectly honest.
I thought the thing with Brock Lesnar and with Femi tonight was great. I thought
it was the best thing on the show.
His hair changes more than Jeff Hardy. It's crazy. Dave's, I'm talking.
I thought it was perfect.
Honestly, that should be the main event of night one.
You know what? I wouldn't argue that.
That feels like the hottest match.
I think it's actually the hottest match of all.
Yes.
You could argue maybe Roman and Punk. Those are the two hottest. I think so. Cody and Randy's hot, but it's probably third. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, LA night. Yeah.
So yeah, it could main event. I bet it opens one of the two nights.
Well, actually, when they were doing that angle, Adam Pearce, he mentioned something of protecting one of his main events. He used that term.
Yeah.
During the angle. I don't know if it's going to actually be a main event, but
yes, on commentary they also said one of the main events. They said that as well. So they're just going to say like super mega main events. Each night of WrestleMania is going to open and close with a main event. That's what they're going to say. If Brock's winning for some insane reason, like they want to do 50-50 and then Oba wins at SummerSlam or whatever,
Brock shouldn't win.
If they do something like that, it should not main event. But if Oba Femi is going over, which he should, that should main event night.
I want to see Oba beat Brock and then Gunther retire Brock at SummerSlam. And Brock has a lot of history at SummerSlam, so that could be, because I don't think they're going to do the retirement match. Your retirement, like maybe they'll do one again if you're like a Ric Flair fucking old geezer type guy, but I don't think they're going to do that at Mania just for the reasons like AJ Styles and Cena both gave of like, you don't want to take away from anyone at Mania. Like it's Mania, you know, you don't want to like that. You having your retirement night is its own thing, its own special event, you know, if you're a name.
Yeah, it could. I think that should be.
Or like you get a card built around you like Truth did. But then the fans were like, hire him again.
I think that should be a subject worthy of discussion, of maybe making that a main. The one thing is that if it's the optimum match that they do, it should be like
the optimum prime match.
10 minutes.
8 to 10 minutes optimum. Guys, this thing's going to go 5 minutes with the fucking entrances. No. This shit's going bell to bell like 420. Over under 420. Or over under 4.5. Well, we won't be smart asses here. I'm going like under 4.5 minutes full match time. I'm not even joking. Bell to bell. Cut the entrances out and whatever they do after.
And I think that they want a more dramatic main event, which would favor Cody and Roman. I mean, Cody and Randy Orton. But, they could go the other way. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah, I don't know if Brock can go like 10 minutes and shit. He's freakishly huge on the last Raw, right? So, again, they talk about the build to WrestleMania. And Dave talks about if the build has felt repetitive. And I feel like, well, this is Bryan here, trying Bryan and Dave. But I feel like the conversation of, is the build repetitive? It's just, no, it's repetitive to keep just talking about how shitty it was at this. It wasn't even that bad, let's be honest.
It's not like any of this stuff is like bad.
Okay, well, there you go. Trying Bryan, Cutie Pie Bry with the W right off the rip. Here we go.
But like I see it on every single show. Like how many times can I see the exact same thing?
It's repetitive.
It's over and over and over again.
Same with you two chuckle fucks, but it's working. You guys are still moseying along.
It's like, okay, I just saw Randy and Cody do this exact same gimmick after Roman and Cody had done the exact same gimmick.
Well, the one thing with WWE is that someone will come up with an idea and they'll do it on all three shows.
Yeah, stop that.
Yeah, I always think the same thing. It's like, I just saw it on the other show, but yeah, I mean, it is repetitive. I mean, like the thing with those two guys is that they've done all the talking. And so I think that they wanted to do a week where they don't do any talking, because what more can they say? I mean, you want to do a whole...
Well, I liked it. I thought this was a good brawl.
It was very good.
I just feel like I've seen this over and over again on this Mania build. Let's brawl.
It's all in my head. I think about it over and over again.
Geeks come out. You break free. I break free. You break free. I break free.
Constantly.
Yeah, they keep doing too many, like, everyone runs out security pullaways. But also before Mania season, like, that's what you would do in a shoot. You'd protect your fucking big money matches for Mania. Like, there's a sense of realism to it. Yes. Has it been repetitive? Yes. And I agree. You see things like both tag titles and the U.S. title is being defended tonight on SmackDown. Then on Raw, it's like both tag titles and the IC titles being defended on Raw. And you're like, whoa, wait, what the fuck? I just saw this. It feels like just the same people, same shit, different pile, So I don't know. I'm with them a little bit. But they sold 40,000 tickets both night of WrestleMania, and you guys are going there to grift off WrestleMania as well. So what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah, it's over and over again.
Constantly. Well, it's WrestleMania, and that's the deal.
I replay it over and over again. Yeah, it's WrestleMania, so that's the deal. Just burying Mania. I mean, yeah, WrestleMania shit. You just do the same thing every year. Every year they did the same stuff.
Again.
Constantly. Well, it's WrestleMania, and that's the deal. You either talk or you brawl, and the brawl's got to be a pull apart. And at least look, I don't know that harping on the age was the right thing to do, and especially when every single champion in WWE, every single male champion in WWE is over the age of 40. So when you start harping on, when the 40-year-old guy is harping on the 47-year-old guy for being old.
Yeah, I'm with you there a little bit.
People start realizing, everybody's old. Not old, but I mean, I don't consider 40 old at all, but for pro
I bet you fucking don't, Dave. I'm still young at heart, Bryan.
It should be old, you know, but
it should be old. Wait, hold on.
But I mean, I don't consider 40 old at all, but for a pro wrestler, it should be old, you know.
Oh, what does that even mean?
But
oh god,
you know, they got the mentality that it takes 20 years to get over. So therefore, if it takes 20 years to get over, you're going to be 45 when you get over.
Wow, Dave, math is a wonderful thing. You can add. Wow, good for you. So, Dave Meltzer going into this WrestleMania, he talked about, the hot button topic is just the ticket prices and how egregious they are. And so let's hear Dave talk about ticket prices and how Vince would never do this. It's just the fan sentiment.
AEW is trying to market itself with the idea that, like, we're charging prices that you can all afford. But the reason that they are is because there's not a demand for their tickets to make the prices any higher. If there was, I mean, they would be charging, if they could sell out at the prices WWE sells at, they would be charging the same prices. I mean, I
love that Dave's saying that when all the wrestlers have been coping about fucking, we're the affordable company and we're the cheap company and shit. And then Dave's like, poor people don't like AEW.
Poor people don't like AEW.
And then it's like, Dave, why can't they charge that amount now? Is it because it's not as good? Or is it because there's a bunch of retards who are WWE fans and they're poor, but they pay this crazy amount of money and literally do embezzlement schemes to fucking buy tickets?
One of the things that I always hear, and it's so ridiculous, is that Vince would never do this to us. And it's like, yes, he would. I mean, you always, I've never heard a promoter who knows a price that will sell out a building that will undercharge for it. It doesn't exist. There was not a demand under Vince for these prices. That's why he never charged these prices.
Plus inflation, but with Tone, so there's no demand. It's not number two because it's a live ticket selling business and they don't compete.
He was not getting sellouts at the prices he was charging. These guys, they're not so much getting sellouts now all the time.
They just did like 18K at the Garden, buddy. They're not doing sellouts all the time if you factor in NXT live events.
But even like
what
recently, there's plenty of 12,000s and 14,000, if in a 14,000 setup.
Meanwhile, Dave will say, sold out AEW when it's 2,500 for the setup.
And you're getting 12 at those prices. That's a success. That's a big success. And that's why those prices are there. And when you're getting 7, the prices will go down with WrestleMania. They did 25% off. I think it's yesterday again, because the price, because they aren't selling enough tickets at those prices. So they did, that was the limit. They've exceeded their limit for WrestleMania, and it was a little bit tougher, but they're still going to get, a giant gate, even at those prices. And they still had, right off the bat, they still had 35,000 tickets, out for both those nights. They're right around 40-ish now. So they're, it's 4 weeks away. They're going to get to 50. It's not going to be an embarrassment or anything.
So then why did you spend this whole time saying it would be an embarrassment and tourism's down and they're fucking blah, 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 blah. And it's, the build, it's an uphill battle. The build has been terrible and maybe if the build's terrible, I mean, that could, I guess, be separate from that. But it's like, all the doom and gloom, all the fucking, the ticket prices are too high and all this shit and all the gouging and the uphill battle and all of this stuff. But they're still going to get to 50,000. But it's doom and gloom and they're not as hot and they're not peak. The peak's over. But they do 18,000 at MSG and doing 50,000 at WrestleMania both nights. And you're going to go there and grift off a fanfare yourself.
Like that. They'll be close to full. And they'll paper it to make it full. So it's not like there's anything to worry about. But yeah, they did slightly overcharge for WrestleMania. But for these TV tapings and things like that, I mean, it's like people are willing to pay what they're charging.
Yeah, and is that because everybody's making less money than AEW fans?
Poor
or what's
people
going
who
on?
don't like AEW.
Is it because it's a hotter
AEW
show, a hotter product? I fucking hate everyone calls it a product now. It drives me insane, man. So, Dave Meltzer, as I pointed out, he himself is going out there and grifting off of WrestleMania. Here is the little trailer here, the promo, before we get into some Dave Meltzer delusions here. Here's the little trailer promo for the F4W Online to Las Vegas. And Dave will go, it's not me. I mean, I'm there, but it's Bryan's thing. It's F4W. Why is it not Wrestling Observer? That's a cop-out from Dave. I'm just going there as a guest of Bry. And meanwhile, all of this doom and gloom, tourism's down, people don't understand tourism, WrestleMania's cooked, blah, blah, blah. They're doing a fucking 3-day F4W Vegas convention with Dave Meltzer there. They're doing blackouts. I mean, the blackouts are because they're worried about tickets, and then there's no blackouts, and Dave's doing a watch-along. The fucking definition of a grift.
He had Cuervo with him the whole time, too.
So let's take a look.
Everyone, make sure you grab your tickets for the F4W convention in Las Vegas coming up over WrestleMania weekend. We got a lot of exciting stuff going on, including live Q&As and podcasts. There's going to be 2 of them, one with myself and Vinny, the other with myself and Dave Meltzer. We'll be doing a live Q&A for both of those shows as well. We've got an awesome dinner, Texas Day Brazil, eat all you can, steak, salad bar, the whole shebang. That's going to be a fun one. You can watch wrestling with Dave Meltzer Saturday and Sunday.
God, I need the clip of his friends making fun of Dave, like his own fucking employees or like people who do shit with him. I don't know if they have their own show or if they're just on F4W or whatever, but he gets made fun of by them for like how he reacts to AEW matches. We've played the clip before, but cue that one up.
And then after WrestleMania, on both Saturday and Sunday, there is a sweet party where we will have food, drink, liquor, and more. There's also
Imagine getting drunk with short little Bry, take some 2 shots, and then fucking wavy Davy. Seltzy Meltzy, man.
Yoki extravaganza with Vinny. You can check that out as well. Tickets for everything available, f4wonline.com/Vegas.
And look, he's on. So look, Dave Meltzer is on every night. Like there's a pod, and then there's a watch party with Dave, and then there's a watch party with Dave. All weekend, both nights. Are they going to be doing this for All In? Well, no, it's in Wembley. This is how you know, dude. AEW doesn't shift economies like this. They do regular pay-per-views that they pretend are WrestleMania level shows, and they're fucking just not.
That is f4wonline.com/Vegas.
This is why Dave's a shill and a grifter, and he's fucking completely exposed with this shit, buddy. Like, how do you're taking part in this fucking convention in a place that you know there's going to be 50,000 people both nights, and some of them are going to fucking be there to watch wrestling with you. There's blackouts. Sure, I'll do this watch party in Vegas. Like, you're cooked.
Your tickets today.
Dude, that is fucking hilarious. So we just got a couple things left here tonight, guys. MRJUPL is a new member. Thank you so much. Guys, hit like, subscribe, retweet, all that good shit. Heart, if you're on X, all that good stuff. If you're on YouTube, you can become a member for only 99 cents. I do Member Monday shows. We do a lot of Raw watch-alongs. We do other shit. They're a fun, grand old time, and I appreciate it. You can gift memberships, too. So to put a cherry on this hot fudge sundae, so already too, oh yeah, by the way, so I skipped over this. The Wrestling Observer Radio Live Q&A, 15% off. They're doing a sale. It's grifting. Oh, it's dying. It's not at its peak, Bryan. Oh shit, he's doing a sale. He has a sale on his tickets. After saying WWE scrambling because they're doing a sale and they're not peak and it's over and they don't sell out. Holy shit, man. Busted for that. So yeah, get yourself 15% off tickets, right? And then we move along here. And Dave Meltzer, he invented like a whole ass WrestleMania in his brain that doesn't exist, right? And then he spurged out on everyone trying to correct them and whatnot over it, even though it's like, Dave, you fucked up. So here's Dave Meltzer in a moment where, again, it's akin to this drop, which is why it's so uncanny. I had to add it to the soundboard.
The young superstar, babyface, the former heel thing.
So here's Dave recalling that famous WrestleMania. Shout out at Triple HHH Paul L. Triplehausen's thoughts. Dave recalling that famous WrestleMania in Cleveland where 25,000 fans were let in for free to pack the building. Now it's like, Dave, you can correct the city or the state or whatever the fuck you want to do all you want, but no WrestleMania let 25,000 fans in free. Are you serious? If that's the case, then fuck me. But like, what are we talking about? Let 25,000 fans in for free. So let's listen to this clip. And he misspoke, and people wouldn't have harped on Dave. I need Dave to understand this, okay? People wouldn't harp on this so badly if he just like was humble and wasn't such like a cocky prick about, you question the stars, you question his Hall of Fame, you question his fucking awards, you question his news, you question anything, right? And even if you do it in just like a chill way, he can't help but just be condescending or call you a fraud. If you're like Julian Weeks and you just glaze WWE, he's just calling you a fraud all the time, when like it's not like that dude's account is called WWE Rules. That's not the name of his account. So like, why do you give a fuck? Like if he liked the fucking Miami Dolphins that much, you wouldn't give a fuck. So here's Dave just going full potato.
We've had WrestleManias where they've Cleveland, the WrestleMania where they had 25,000 freebies in the building.
Hold on. Like, do we have to Google this, man? I can't even. It won't come up. But has a WWE WrestleMania ever comped 25,000 tickets? I don't know if AI can answer this for us, or Google's AI now too, so there's no so complimentary and broker tickets. Reports surrounding historically large events such as WrestleMania 32 suggested that of the massive crowds reported, a significant portion, up to 25,000 tickets, were bought with the intention of reselling or were given out. So that's a conspiracy theory, probably concocted by Dave back then. I'm sure Meltzer said what has fucking repeated. WrestleMania 37 and 21, WWE famously capped the daily capacity at 25,000 tickets per night due to pandemic restrictions. So it's just pulling up like times where 25,000 was a figure. So I don't know, man. There's no Kim Kardashian, $25,000 to announce the WrestleMania attendance one year. So I don't know what the fuck Dave's saying. All I know is Thurston sued the fucking building. He sues the buildings and shit, and All In, All In Texas. Yeah, it was revealed to him that AEW papered a shitload. Dave just never talks about this. So now he's talking about papering the building to justify them being at 25,000. And he hopes that you read every one of his words and listen to every one of his words. And we covered it earlier. If you don't listen to me or read my shit, and this is a clip and it's not a big deal. People misspeak. It happens. But it's like people are jumping on that ass. Dave, pause. No Diddy. No P. Diddy. We're bringing that one back. People wouldn't melt down about it if Dave just wasn't such a dickhead constantly to everybody about everything else.
25,000 freebies in the building. So if they have 25,000 freebies in this building, it'll be plenty full. That's not a problem. The gate, just from this first 35,000, the gate's through the roof. We've had WrestleManias where they've Cleveland,
So WrestleMania in Cleveland. So Dave went on record, I guess, and corrected himself, right? And he says here, and I tweeted this out. I go, what a salty bitch. So this guy goes, Advanced Molina says, I live in Cleveland and never missed a show since the 90s. What the fuck is he talking about? And then Meltzer goes, pay attention, 1992, Indianapolis. And again, this is Dave's problem. He's in a fucking bubble. He's in a fucking hive mind where he thinks that everybody needs to read every word, every quote, every syllable, listen to every minute of his show, and you'll be the most informed, best fucking, you know what I mean? Like he never misspeaks. He's infallible. He has every fact correct. He's always right. He's never been wrong ever in the history of anything. Right? And he even goes so far as to say, pay attention, Indianapolis. Pay attention to what, Dave? This is the problem. You treat your news as though you're breaking stories, like apparently Backlash will be in Japan. You tweeted that out. So that's news. So now your Twitter's news. You have a news website. In your bio, it doesn't say, this is just me talking shit on Twitter. Like, I don't actually break news here. If it's not written or spoken on my show, it's not news. Nothing like that of the sort. So your Twitter's your news, your letter's your news. And in this video that you're telling him to pay attention to, you say Cleveland. So what the fuck is he supposed to do? Am I supposed to believe you know Cuervo's
he had
name?
Cuervo with him the whole time, too.
And so Mike Housen goes, you literally said Cleveland. And then Dave Meltzer goes, yep, and corrected myself a dozen or more times in different places before you wrote this. What different places, Dave? Like in the shower, in the kitchen, making your coffee, in the driveway, at the park, walking your dog. What different places? You just said earlier in this show that you don't do other people's shows and shit. So where? In the Observer and then your dusty ass radio show that's recorded and not out yet. Is that what you're talking about? And he's just salty about being fucking called out for this. So Dave gets called out further on this by the GOAT. Meltzer said what? Who goes, in April 20, 420, Smoke It Up, Man, 1992, Wrestling Observer issue. Your estimate of the freebies for WrestleMania 8 was anywhere from 8 to 25K, a 17K range. On the Lapsed Fan WrestleMania 8 review 10 years ago, you claimed 62K legit attendance, 47K paid, 15K freebies. Now it's back to 25K. So check this out, man. He gets pwned on so many levels. So Meltzer said what, right? He's got some receipts here, and he goes, this fossilized, narcissistic, lying robot could not even simply state, I misspoke. I meant to say Indianapolis. Exactly. He condescends this guy. Nope. Pay attention. Well, why are you bum hurt, dude? Why are you fucking Ricochet right now?
We have confirmed that Dave Meltzer fears PWT and flutes.
He just vaguely replied Indianapolis 92 repeatedly while not actually acknowledging his error, as usual, and then acting like a pretentious dick. And so, again, if it was about the major papering, that was 92 in Indianapolis. 92 Indianapolis, 1992, like responding in multiple different, let me reorder that, Bryan. This way, it'll work out better.
Oh, my God. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
It's so fucking good. Pay attention, 92 Indianapolis. Like, what a piece of shit. Yep, and corrected myself. You can only say I meant 92 in Indy so many times before you have to block people for not getting it. See, this is a narcissist. It truly is, because he believes that everybody waits on every one of his words, studies like they're sitting there fucking reading every single one of his tweets that he ever puts out and every word he ever publishes. And if you don't, then you're a dumbass that will be blocked because you don't listen to every single fucking thing he ever says ever. Holy man, that is actually, it's psychotic, man. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's like some sort of sociopathic thing that's going on. Narcissism, I guess, is the way Meltzer said it. So I think this is that point, and it's commonly known. See, he thinks what he thinks is common, like knowledge, just what Dave, like everyone's simpleton plebeians, fucking serfs, fucking living below him, not allowed books. And he's just the all fucking knowing, he's the brain, dude. He's the leader from Hulk, you know? He's fucking Uatu. It's sick, man. And so we listen to this clip, we go back. Meltzer said what pulls his card. So Dave is saying that, famously, now, all these years later, right? 30 years later, 35 years later, Dave is sitting here going, well, famously in Cleveland, they papered it 25,000 and people are like, you're a dumb fuck. And then you actually look at what he meant because he's like, I meant Indy, right? Indianapolis, famously. But it's not famous. It's just Dave back then saying anywhere from 8,000 to 25,000 were given away. Him just guessing, hating, talking shit back then, more than likely. Or maybe they papered it a shitload. Who fucking knows? But his guess was 8K to 25K papered. And that's literally like what Thurston's guess was for, no, not 25K, but it was a lot, right? It was, I think the attendance was more like 18K or whatever the fuck that were like paid and that, whatever. So doesn't matter. Dave's still coping about these old manias, right? And so this motherfucker on the Lapsed Fan WrestleMania 8 review, which we're about to listen to 10 years ago, okay? Dave claimed a 62K was a legit attendance. So when it fit his narrative of whatever the fuck he said on this show that we're about to listen to the clip to, now it's legit attendance. 47K paid, 15 freebies. Which again, is it 15, Dave, or is it 8 to 15? That's the fucking problem. Nobody knows. It's just Meltzer math.
Baby, learn Meltzer Inferno.
And so now it's back to 25K freebies when it fits his narrative. Let's take a listen.
And in retrospect, finally in WrestleMania 8, Dave, they ran the Hoosier Dome in Indianapolis. Massive.
Well, it was the Hoosier Dome. Ugh.
Building. They announced 62,000 attendance, but I get the impression that this wasn't a successful dome show for them. That they could have done more, much more.
The place held. They set it up for 70. The 62 was a real number.
Okay.
But the paid was
man,
was 47, and they were paid like crazy at the end. So it was. It was a struggle. I mean,
they papered like crazy at the end, but it was 15 or whatever. Like, so he just flip flops on shit like nothing, man. It's crazy.
And in that day, in that time frame, 47,000 people.
And this is why it's crazy, because he's the news. You know, that's the problem. It's like you can't flip flop that goddamn much.
Not really a failure, but it was not a success. It was. And you've got to remember they were in the middle of a scandal then. So there was, and business was about to collapse. In fact, it collapsed right after that Mania. It pretty much collapsed. So, and Hogan left. That Mania was Hogan's last match for almost a year, or about, I guess it was right about a year. So things were bad, and things were bad. So it wasn't I wouldn't call it a failure though, but. They were expecting better than that.
Okay, so what happened to Reasonable Dave though, where he's just like, oh, it wasn't a failure, but they were expecting better? I mean, I guess he is kind of saying that about this Mania, but he also was such a fucking proprietor of like, it's doom and gloom and all this shit. And Yeah, it's funny that he's going there. So to cap off this show, Dave Meltzer was streaming, doing his show, and an earthquake went off. Earthquake and typhoon came stomping through, and there was a live earthquake. Let's look at Dave's reaction.
By the way, there's an earthquake going on here right now.
Really?
Yeah, I'll let you know how bad it is.
Whoa.
I mean, it's serious. It's still going.
Your whole camera is shaking.
Oh, man. I just got an emergency report. Let's see what it says.
Oh, John Moxley's in the area. You better duck and run.
Yeah, we had an earthquake, man. It says.
Well, no, earthquake and typhoon. They're signing with AEW, Bryan.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
Tell me what it's saying. I don't know. I think the phone just beeped because they didn't send me a message yet.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, that was my personal alarm, Bryan.
Looks like it's over.
That was my car alarm, actually. I'm in my garage.
It's over. It might come back, but it's over right now, yeah.
Now everyone's calling to see if your house fell down.
Everyone's
calling Tony Khan. What if it was Tony again? That would have been the best.
He's going to be calling me now. Yeah. We got to keep going.
All right.
By the way, there's
Oh, man, that's pretty funny. And there you go, Dave. Even the good Lord was like, shut this down now, these lies. He's like, if I tell one more lie, Bryan, may God send an earthquake, strike me down. A fucking earthquake is. Well, the key demo is what matters on the Richter scale.
The best guys, Tony Khan.
Oh, man. That, ladies and gentlemen, was Dave Meltzer's dumb moment of the week. And, of course, trying, Bryan. Thank you all for being here. I will see you guys for Sicko Saturday, Stand and Deliver Saturday. Go and enjoy TNA versus AEW head-to-head. Until next time.
Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen. You're overdue. I just felt it's something that makes you look good, and that's cool, and I'm all for it, but I think you need to tone this down because now it's getting obtrusive to the show. But they can go in the afternoon for a U.S.
Hold
show,
on a second.
As they did there. And
Dave?
they can do 180,000 buys for an afternoon show, which they've also done for All In. So
okay,
we know they can do big.
Can I continue this before you cut me off?
Yeah,
we know one thing.
Yes.
We know it might have done well because it went on first.
I'm not saying it would.
Here's my thing, Dave.
But here's wait. Okay, here's the thing. Oh my God, it's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I mean, it didn't mean anything to me. It was just a match.
That's the problem, Dave. It should mean something to you.
Give him a quick squash win just to show that, he's not a loser.